Well, a very good evening to you, race fans. Welcome back once again. It's that time of the week. Hope you've been hanging out for this one. The Alliance Sim Racing Supercar Championship, proudly supported by Solagard St. Gobain, reaches round 5 of season 6 tonight, and we are back on home soil at none other than Sandown International Motor Raceway. It's one of Australia's most iconic circuits and really a perfect venue to mark the halfway point of this season. This place is absolutely pure old school supercar racing, long straights, heavy braking zones, and some curbs that demand absolute respect from all of the drivers. Precision and patience is what's going to pay off here tonight. Push a little too hard, and there are plenty of walls waiting to remind you of just who's in charge here at Sandown. The championship battles are starting to take shape, and every point matters as we get further and further into the season. But of course, tonight will be the halfway round, and we have plenty of amazing racing in the store for you still. If you're new to the place, welcome on board. If you're returning, it's great to have you back with us. My name is Jared Cole, and on behalf of everyone here at Simple Racing Broadcast, wonderful to have you back with us. I'm joined in the booth tonight by none other than TrackSpot TV's Isaac Fogarty. And Isaac, great to have you back with me, mate. I know you've been keen for this one.
Yeah, good evening, Jared. Good evening, everybody. Keen to be back in the booth, and yeah, you're absolutely right. If there's an iconic racing circuit that we could go to with these supercars, it's right here at Sandown. Absolutely one of the best places to take these cars, give them a run around. Good old-fashioned Aussie racing circuit, right around a horse racing circuit. So can you get more Aussie than that? A race car circuit around a horse racing circuit. Plenty of walls, plenty of tricky corners for our drivers to navigate this evening, and two beefy races as well. 37 laps for both races. It's going to be a lot of fun.
It absolutely will, and you know, a little bit unusual to have two races back to back of the same length here with ASR, and not the first time that it'll happen. But of course, it is absolutely a bit of a rare thing. 37 laps in race 1 and again in race 2. The only difference, a reverse top 10 grid, and a standout tonight, no compulsory pit stops in either race this evening, which really just lends itself to absolute flat-out speed here. The fuel restrictions still in place, a 60% cap on the tank. And conditions, look, the track probably about the perfect temperature. Isaac, 33 degrees is not too hot, not too cold. It's just right. It's a Goldilocks temp for me.
Absolutely perfect for getting these tyres up to temp for quality for these guys to set some fast times, and hopefully low enough that it won't overheat these tyres too easily in the race. We'll see some really good racing. Air temp as well, 18 degrees. No real wind as well. Only 2 kilometres an hour really at the gust point of the wind. So it's actually pretty still out there, pretty clear, pretty sunny, and ideal conditions for these guys to just go out and try and go as fast as they can across these 37 laps.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we take a bit of a run around the track with Simon Haynes in the Solagard St. Gobain car, let's take a quick look at the championship standings as we come into tonight's racing. And Dean Logsdale, I tell you what, it is such a pleasure to see him up the top of the leaderboard, and the first driver to crack the 4-digit mark tonight. 1,007 points, the lead position at the moment. Wayne Walker not too far off the back, nor is Andrew Rushworth or Matt Vanderkraan, so still plenty in it. Luke Orman as well, tagging along there, not a long way further back. Jason Bent's in 6th, probably about the only one who's going to find it difficult to move up, but also pretty tricky to drop down at this point. So he's in a reasonably comfortable 6th. And then Vargs, Poynton, Fisher, Jamie Dyke, Ken Latta, all in a pretty tight battle for some of the minor placings there. Of course, being equally matched race distances tonight means that the points on offer for each race are pretty well the same. So we'll of course have the updated provisionals at the end, but it is a nice change for these drivers, I'm sure, to know that their efforts in both races are going to be equally rewarded at the end of it. G'day, Tim. Great to have you back in the chat with us. Mate, I wish iRacing offered the international layout for Sandown. Ultimately, the only reason they don't have it, of course, is because they couldn't scan it. It was long gone before iRacing was really a thing. So it lives on in our memories, and that's about it, unfortunately. It was an interesting layout, though. If you've not seen it before, go and check it out, because it's something, yeah, look, a little bit different, to say the least. Let's take a run around Sandown while the drivers are finishing up their qualifying session in the background. Simon Haynes takes us on board. As I said, the Solagard St. Gobain car is the way to go, and jumping on the power as we head down the main straight, we cross the control line, It's the box just here, and then flat out all the way down this long straight. You're talking mid to high 200k an hour depending on your setup. Huge braking zone here on the way into turn 1. It's a tricky left hand. You've got to watch those curbs. They are massive. They'll absolutely bite you. The run here through 2 and 3, this chicane, a very, very tricky one. You've got to ride the edges to be fast, but you've got to make sure you keep control of that car, because anything less than full control through Pertec corner is going to be enough to spit you into that blue wall on the right-hand side, and I will guarantee we're going to see that tonight. A fast right-hand kink as we head down the back straight, and this is one of the bravest parts of any track anywhere. A bit of a blind crest and then on the brakes just to set up for the run down through the S's here as we reach Dandenong Road. It's a bit of a favourite for a lot of these drivers. Coming down through here, heavy braking, hard left corner, and on the run back towards the front straight. You're not done yet, back on the throttle though, and Dunlop corner awaits as the last real challenge here. A tight right-left complex that, again, the curb's just waiting for the hint of a mistake to really just flick your car out. And that is a lap of Sandown. We're looking at around about, look, 1:07, 1:08 seconds tonight is what you're looking for in terms of a pretty good pace that we saw in qualifying. So we'll have to see what tonight brings in race conditions, Isaac.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I think looking at the qualifying times we've had so far, pretty quick times. A 1:07.9 was the fastest we saw in that qualifying session. So probably 1:08, 1:09 in race pace even. So still a really short lap, not a lot of time for you to really think and breathe. That back straight and that front straight, probably your only two real opportunities. And even then, you're going so quick that you don't even really, you're at the end of it before you even know it. So it's going to be a really a testing race for these guys, a real endurance test, which is why it used to be used as an endurance track in the Supercars Championship in real life. It's one of those tracks that will really just put every single driver through their paces, and we're going to see that tonight on full display.
You know, that's a little bit of a nostalgic warm fuzzies there, because of course it was the Sandown 500 supporting the Pink Fins charity right about, July, August, I think, last year was where Simple Racing Broadcast got its start, stepping in at the last minute to cover the 500k there with Alliance Sim Racing, and we've been here ever since covering the supercars. And I tell you what, it's gone from strength to strength. The Gen 3s arriving on the scene, really a massive improvement in terms of the race quality and the drivers that we've got in this field now compared to where we were 12 months ago. It's a whole different ball game. We've got some of Australia's very best, and indeed the world's very best V8 supercar drivers right here in this group. I don't quite know what to expect tonight, Isaac. G'day, Phil. Manuel checking in to the chat. From what I understand, a few hardware issues taking you out tonight, Phil, if memory serves. Mate, I hope you can get that sorted pretty quickly and be back into it for round number 6. We've got about a minute left to go in qualifying. Most of the drivers having set their pace already. We've got just a minute or so if anyone does have an extra lap up their sleeve. About the only person with the opportunity to do that right now as I skim down the list. Darren Walden, Rick Vagar and Jim Caperonis, all three only using one lap to set their time. So they've got a pretty good feel for what they're going to be capable of, and not feeling like they need a second lap, which is a little unusual, Isaac.
Yeah, I would have thought you definitely, especially Jim Capronis being in fourth and not that far off the pole time set by Wayne Walker. I would think that he would have gone again, maybe gone for another lap and tried to find a couple tenths there to get himself maybe even on the front row. So that's a very interesting decision. Darren Walden, he also didn't get too far through that lap before he threw it away, and Rick Vargo as well. So definitely a couple questions there left to ask, I'm sure, but these guys know what they're doing, so we'll leave it to the experts to make their plans. But whether that was a clear decision from the start for them to always run that just one lap, or whether they were going to go for two and then plans changed, not sure, but very interesting decision nonetheless.
We'll see how it plays out for them. This is your grid for race number 1. Let's go through it. Wayne Walker takes pole, a 107.977, just dipping into the sevens, and the only driver to do so in the qualifying session. Jason Bentz will be alongside him Then Jamie Dyke and Jim Caperonis line up on row 2. Matt Vanderkruijm and Dean Logsdale row 3 ahead of Damon Fisher and Mark Poynton. Michael Whiting and Alex Kiedis sneak on into the top 10 as well. David Coleman and Luke Orman just missing out. Mitchell Steele-Allison, Ugangatangas Racing, I'm going to say it every time for you, Mitchell, because I've got it down pat now, mate, alongside Andrew Rushworth on row 7. Ryan Palmer and Troy Sipple behind them on row 8. Then Stephen Wagner and Mick Clifton ahead of Keofilo and Craig Schulz checking in this evening. Brad Hayes and Rick Vigar behind them ahead of Josh Harris and Simon Farrington. Then Andrew Johnston and Mitch Wood with Darren Walden and Craig Rose ahead of Ashley Hall and David Logsdale, who, as I understand, has perhaps selected the wrong vehicle tonight, and so that'll be a bit of a challenge for him. Tim Nicol and Brad Grant, your safety car pilots this evening, as we start to see our drivers lining up on track. We'll be going down there in just a moment. Give us your predictions here, folks, for tonight's race. It's always a tough one, Sandown, and I think the only prediction that I've got to offer is that I'm expecting a safety car within the first 2 or 3 laps.
Can't go past predicting a safety car around here. It's almost paying the shortest odds of anything when it comes to racing at Sandown. I think no doubt we'll see a safety car at some point. I would suggest one of the two on the front row, Wayne Walker or Jason Benz, provided they can get off to a good start here, will most likely win this first race because track position is super key here. You can pass here, especially down into turn 1. That's going to be a really key passing opportunity for a lot of these drivers, but everywhere else it's a little bit difficult to pass. Maybe you can set yourself up into Dandenong Road if you get a nice run off the back straight through the S's, but that remains to be seen. We're only missing a couple cars now, though. We're not too far away from this race start by the looks of it, Jared, and very excited to see what this race has in store for us in a few moments' time.
Absolutely spot on. G'day, Ryan. Welcome on in. A bit of support for Team AJR and, of course, Accelerate Sim Racing there. Look, not a bad call. Wayne Walker off the front is going to be hard to keep with. Jason Bensley doing everything he can. Jamie Dyke, look, he's well positioned here. He's a Sandown veteran, really, so it will be interesting to see what he can pull out of the hat tonight. Dean Logsdale back in 6th, though, the current championship leader. Good to see him not too far off the pace there. We are just getting the confirmation from the back of the grid that we've got all our cars up and ready to go. We are just about ready to go racing here. Race number 1, 37 laps of Sandown International Motor Raceway. Here we go. The lights are up. We are waiting on the start, and we are green for race number 1, and immediately Walker and Bentz get the jump. The rest of the field starts to spread left and right as they look for that opportunity coming off the start line, and down into turn 1 we go. Still 2-3 wide, and immediately we've got Jason Bentz out to the side of the track, just getting a bit of a nudge there from Jim Caperonis. Thankfully, very, very little damage done, and we make our way through the chicane for the first time. We're still going 2 wide, which is a pretty bloody brave move, if I do say so myself. G'day, Dave. Welcome on in. It's a hell of a start for Sandown, but everyone getting single file pretty quickly here and not much other option. Wayne Walker, though, out in front with Jamie Dyke right on his tail, and Dean Logsdale right behind him as they head on down to the S's and Dandenong Road for the first time. This is one of my favourite parts of this track. So we watch them come down through the bottom of the S's. It's a very, very popular spot to try and force a pass. We've got a bit of a move going in the background there with, I think that might have been Ryan Palmer just trying it on. I don't know if he's managed to get much done with it, but it's worth a look. And here we go. We are off and racing. Immediately a black flag for David Logsdale. I don't know what's happened there, but we'll have to go and take a bit of a look and see if we can figure that out. And Ryan Palmer, yeah, just a bit of a moment there on that exit. We're off 37 laps just like that. We're into the racing line. This is where it starts to get really tricky, Isaac, because it's going to take a lot of commitment as we see David Coleman starting to look for that move early on. He can't quite get there, so he's just going to stick to the back of Damon Fisher for this run down the back straight, and he'll be looking to make a run through the S's, I'm sure.
Yeah, this is going to be where he has to set himself up. Setting the slipstream on this back straight for David Coleman. He's right in behind the rear wing of Damon Fisher. So This is a prime opportunity. Looks to the inside on the run down towards the kink at the, like they call it a sharp left-hander if you ask ChatGPT, but it's a bit of a kink at the end of the back straight into the S's. Now down to Dandenong Road. This is where you need to make moves. He actually gets a really nice drive off the corner, and now we'll run down towards the final chicane. He's on the outside line though here. This is going to be a tricky spot to make the pass. Somebody sweeps around the outside, and he's got that move sorted. And David Coleman goes past Damon Fisher, and now Mark Ponton will fancy himself, I think, or Poynton, I think, as I try and get the names right. But he's going to fancy himself a move down into turn 1 as well, and this could dispel disaster for Damon Fisher. He might be up for losing a couple spots here.
Yeah, he's going to have to find his pace pretty quickly, and you can see he's already started to protect. As we see in the background, Alex Kiedis is around, and he's into the wall there. Thankfully, not massive damage, but it's going to be a long wait to get spun around. You can see him sitting in the grass off to the right-hand side, and that's going to push him all the way towards the back of the field as we keep an eye on this battle going on. This pack of 5 led by the 2 Quantum Racing entries of Craig Rose and Ashley Hall, then Andrew Johnston, Darren Walden and Ryan Palmer all the way back here as well after that early issue. These guys probably about the tightest battle on the track right now, and Palmer is absolutely looking for an opportunity to make the pass here. He's just watching Walden and Johnston going side by side in the S's. That is a very we're 3 wide through the S's, and Palmer sneaks through. What a move. I don't know how he found space there, but just the slightest hint of room on the road, and off he goes. Ryan Palmer now steams away from Walden and Johnston. I don't think they saw that one coming.
I think he just created room. I don't know if there really was room. I think he just created it and said, there's a space here. I've added a bit of track, so I'm just going to fancy myself a look here. But now we have Wayne Walker, our race leader, coming under pressure from Jamie Dyack, and there's a move up the inside for Josh Harris, squeezing Clifton wide. And actually, I think that's Josh Harris in the Chevrolet that actually held around the outside. So he got a bit squeezed there by Mick Clifton. These battles are getting spicy. We knew the gloves would be off here. It is a difficult track to pass that, so you've got to take the opportunities where you can. This is Michael Whiting sitting. You think he's actually losing a couple of spots. He's going slowly.
Off a slow down here. Yeah, he's picked up a slow down earlier on, so he's just cleared it now, and unfortunately it has cost him 3 spots. He manages to hold off Bence, but Bence immediately jumps up the inside of Dandenong Road here. They're going to be side by side on the exit as Whiting just rides the curb on the way out. There's not a lot of room there. These guys are staying too wide. Neither of them want to give it up right now. Bence determined to stay on the inside for this run down the main straight. In the background, though, Troy Sipple just watching on and willing his teammate on just a little bit faster. Bence in a prime position, but he's not going to have the pace here. He's going to have to drop back in behind Whiting and try and make a move under brakes. It's going to be a heavy one if he does try and take the shot. He doesn't for the moment, so we'll just sit in behind and wait for another opportunity. A close one for Jason Bence. He almost had Michael Whiting, and I think that's going to put the Fisher Motorsports driver on high alert.
He's going to be very aware here that he's now got a very fast charging Jason Benson. A man that is coming back with a vengeance, I guess you could say, after being spun or half spun at turn 1 on lap 1. So he started on the front row. Maybe feels a little bit hard done by, pushing hard to try and get back through this field. Now, this is his teammate Stephen Varga sitting right in behind Mitch Wood.
Wood goes
Mitch Wood
very wide.
Almost decided there wasn't a corner there. He's got a bit of damage to
the background.
Car around in the background. That is
looks like Varga and Simon Farrington coming together.
It is. Rick Varga and Simon Farrington have spun through this is the Dandenong Road, so they've actually done very well to get that out. Now look at all the gravel, all the dirt that's all over the road now that cars are going to have to run through as a result. That's been pulled out of that gravel trap, so a bit of a messy incident for those two. They'll push on, though. There's plenty of laps left in this race, and Jamie Dyack has actually gotten past Wayne Walker for the lead of the race, so there's been a lead change while we've been watching all of this.
And I think that could be, I did see Wayne Walker pop up with a bit of a slowdown all of about half a lap ago, and that might be all it takes. As we see, Walden very wide, can't get the braking done. He's going to drop in behind Ashley Hall and try and get back in the game. It's as much a mental game here at Sandown as anything else, because once you go off track once, it can be really hard to just set yourself up to commit some of these corners, and it really does take commitment here. Make no mistake. let's go up front and take a look at. So incident between car 100 and car number 80. So that's Jamie Dyke and excuse me, and Jason Bentz. No further action. So a net code collision there. Probably one worth us going back to take a bit of a look at some point. But geez, there's been action absolutely everywhere so far. So that would have been the lap 1, turn 1 incident that saw Bentz pushed to the outside onto that extra bit of asphalt out there. Thankfully, not too much in it by the look of things.
No, not much in it at all, and it's now a incident between car 100 and car 80. 5-second penalty for car 100.
So that will be Ryan Palmer's
Ryan
incident.
Palmer.
So let's see if we can take a bit of a look at that, because we didn't quite catch what had happened there. We'll go back and see what the replay shows. And we've got Ryan Palmer here. I feel like we've missed something a little earlier, perhaps, for Palmer, because that is well after the fact, I think.
It's interesting, that one. I'm just trying to see if I can ascertain what exactly happened here. We might be getting our answer very, very soon. But yeah,
the path. Watch Bentz here and his pass on Palmer. Jams it up the inside, and just hits the curb, and just goes straight. Look, it's a pretty ambitious move, and really did himself no favour hitting that curb. But I'm going to say a reasonably firm penalty, to say the least, from race control for that one. Yeah,
I think 5 seconds is relatively firm, and with no pit stop, he won't get an opportunity to serve that until the end of the race. So that's going to be a bit of a sting at the end of his result. He'll have to be, try and be 5 seconds ahead of the next car ahead. And at the moment, that's probably going to drop him down to, well, he's sitting in 13th, probably going to drop him down to 18th place at this stage. So he's actually going to lose a fair chunk of spots, which is probably not ideal for him, but that's what happens. And the stewards have had a look at it, and obviously they feel that there was something there, so he'll receive a penalty as a result. And now I believe I also saw car 107, Alex Kiedis. There was no further action required for that incident, so the stewards have had their work cut out for them. With only 9 laps going in this race, they're busy already.
Not surprising though, is it, when you come to a place like Sandown? There's such high speed involved at both these straights. It really is just two absolute drag strips connected by a couple of afterthought corners in between. But it does make, as Damon Fisher runs very, very... Oh, big moment there. Oh. Big moment for Mitchell Steele-Allison. He manages to hold on to it. But Andrew Rushworth will be immediately onto that and looking for an opportunity to make the most of it. It's two drag strips with a couple of afterthought corners, but those afterthought corners make a huge difference in terms of how much room you've actually got to move around in one of these Gen 3 supercars. And if you're not absolutely on the right line, very, very easy to just overcook it, clip a curb, whatever the case may be, and end up into the door of one of your compatriots out there on track. And we've seen that already a little bit tonight. This battle group, though, starting to line up in true supercars fashion. Mark Point down in front, getting a bit of a run at the moment, starting to try and extend his lead. But behind him, Damon Fisher, Mitchell Steele-Allison, Rushworth, Allman, Michael Whiting, all tucked in very, very close together. And that'll be going on for a little while here, I suspect, as we see David Logsdale. No paintwork to be seen, not his usual car, so he's just out there making the best of it tonight, and good on him for doing so. We'll jump up front, though, because the battle out front is probably one of the closer ones that we've seen all season. It's at this stage, and it just gives you an idea of how familiar these guys really are with Sandown. You're not seeing anyone absolutely run away with it. Wayne Walker tucked in behind Jamie Dyke. Dean Logsdale has been on a mission. He's up 3 spots since the start, and he is right there. We'll jump back, though. We've got two TMajR cars alongside each other in Allman and Fisher as they swap spots and try and decide who gets to take Michael Whiting through the S's. I will say a massive thank you to Michael Whiting for his updated paintwork. He doesn't look exactly like Jamie Dyke anymore. Same sort of colours, but a different application. Very much appreciated by me here in the booth, mate.
Yeah, all these liveries look so good, but just cannot get past how some of these, especially these Ford Mustangs, are presented. They just look so good in the livery, the NZ cars, and you got these both cars again. Yeah, very similar livery, but very different cars, and just the way they've sort of adjusted them to fit the alternate vehicle just makes it look so good. And they look like proper team cars across manufacturers, which is really cool. But this is battle we've got going on. This is Phil Ho. I'm trying to learn. He's got some of the names. I'm still getting used to it, still learning. But this is Troy Sipple in front, and he's defending like crazy at the moment to try and hold on to that 13th spot because he's got a lot of pressure from behind. Josh Harris as well and Stephen Varga not too far off the back of this group. They're actually starting to close in as a result. Had a little bit of a look on the exit there. Did Troy Sipple? No, that's Kyo behind him.
Varg's at the back of this as well, who's also having a bit of a look. So a couple of duos battling it out here. Worth noting that Jason Bentz back in 25th has just set the fastest lap at 108.08. So a bit of clear air back there, definitely helping him out. He's not caught up in any of the battles, but unfortunately a long way off the pace at the moment. That is, though, some fresh tyres by the look of things. He's come in and made a pit stop. So, yeah, look, suspect that we'll probably see a few more of these cars have a think about whether or not they want to do the same and try and take the most of that. Drive-through penalty now issued to car number 3, Simon Farrington, for an incident between himself and car 014, which is Rick Liger.
Dandenong Road.
Which is the Dandenong Road one, exactly right. So, yeah, not super surprised to see that. As we get ourselves a little bit of a combined pack here, just either side of this lapped car. It looks like Craig Schulz, if I'm not mistaken, the 9.5 Sim Sport entry. Indeed it is. He's found himself caught up in the middle of this and just trying to stay out of the way as best he can as we make our way through. Now Jason Bentz makes another move, takes Mick Clifton, who's also come in and made his pit stop. So this will be interesting to see. They both pitted on lap 8. So the difference in pace here will be purely down to Bentz having a bit of clear air ahead of him now. And look at him pull away from Pertec corner. The gap not opening up just yet. In fact, Clifton sticking with him beautifully, and even starting to reel a little bit back in.
Yeah, he's starting to try and pull it back towards him at the moment. He's Mick Clifton, and this battle, this could not work out the way that Jason Bentz wants it to, as he tries to. He probably wants to pull away here, build a gap. He's got 6 seconds to actually haul up the road, and you want to make inroads on that as quickly as possible. But Mick Clifton might have other ideas and try and invite himself into a battle here. As we saw, I just missed the end of that, but a pit lane penalty for another car there as well.
Yeah, Mitch Wood heading for a drive-through there. G'day, Jordan. Welcome to the chat, mate. How do we get involved? Look, halfway through this season, so entries very, very full. As you can see, we've got a pretty full grid here, 30 cars out on track, which is not far off the maximum number of entries that these guys will have in any given season. But if you want to take a look in the description just down below, what you'll find there is an email address to get in touch with the guys at Alliance Sim Racing and register your interest for Season 7, which will be early next year. Date to be confirmed, but expect it to be, look, as a guess, I'd say probably mid to late January, the kickoff for Season 7.
Well, there you go. Yeah, very, very excited for the future seasons of this, but we've got another season, the rest of this season to worry about as well. First, we've got, this is Jamie Dyke and Wayne Walker still going at it for the lead of this race, so they're battling away. Wayne Walker, though, he's still feeling the effects of that slowdown earlier. Track position, as we said earlier, is super key around here, and he just cannot find a way past Jamie Dyke, and they're ranging up towards a back marker now, so that's going to play a little bit of a factor here as well. The traffic factor will come into it. I'd suggest in probably about 3 or 4 laps time, and this is the battle for 13th on our screen. So Craig Rose, Andrew Johnson, Ashley Hall going for a little bit of a look up the inside. A lot of curb there for Andrew Johnson.
Ryan Palmer's fallen victim to the Pertec corner. He's going to want to get moving very, very quickly. That is a dangerous spot, and you can see already the cars whipping around behind him. Thankfully, he manages to get out of the way before this train arrives. And it's such an easy thing to do, isn't it? Pertec corner is one of those ones, and sure enough, he's gotten up and over the curb, bit of grass, and just couldn't stop the slide. But what a spot to be stopped there. He'd be looking at that relative and frantically trying to get it rolling again. It's an Austin Powers moment once again.
Yeah, and that grass wood, I do not recommend grass as a surface for trying to stop a car. It never works quite as well as I think any of these guys think it would, and sometimes they'll find themselves caught on the grass and as a result spinning the wrong way, and no doubt I'll remind Ryan of that one at a later time. I'll store that up my sleeve for later. When I need to get one up on him, I'll remind him that he uses the grass as a braking surface. But nevertheless, he pushes on. He's got still a fair way to go in this race, and he's 17th, so plenty of opportunity to try and make some positions back up again. This is Josh Harris. No, this is Troy Sipple being pressured by Kai. Is it Phil Ho? I don't want to.
I'm going to go with Phil Ho. But that is me probably absolutely butchering the name KO, so I apologise in advance for that one. We haven't actually seen much of KO this season at all. The Wii Race Camaro's kind of shown up here and there, but hasn't been a regular feature. Certainly making the most of it here at Sandown tonight, so I assume a bit of a favourite track for him. No further action on another incident from race control there, so they're working through them slowly but surely. Wayne Walker is in for his pit stop, so dropping down through the order, but will absolutely be make his way back up through in no time at all. Keep an eye on Walker for his lap times on the way out. We know that the first 2 or 3 laps are absolutely the best you're going to get out of a Gen 3 supercar tyre, and Wayne Walker is an expert at milking every single 10th out of them. So my prediction, fastest lap for Wayne Walker in about 2 minutes time. G'day Portyhouse, how you doing, mate? There's a couple of ways to keep your eye on this one. Absolutely, you can keep an eye on the ASR channel here if what you want to see is all of the ASR action each Tuesday night. But of course, over on the Simple Racing broadcast channel, we've got racing going on 3 nights a week at the moment, with more to come next year. So stay tuned for that one as well. YouTube.com/@SimpleRacingBroadcasts if you want to take a look at that as well. Or we're tagged in the YouTube description just down below. We're starting to see a few pit stops coming in now. Jamie Dyke comes in from the front of the pack. He'll be making his stop and trying to get back out ahead of Wayne Walker. Doesn't want to leave it too long and give Walker too much of an opportunity to make the undercut, which we know is super, super strong. And Walker will be, look, he'll be on hot tyres now. Take a look in the background, because there's Jamie Dyke. Wayne Walker just steaming down behind him. Take a look at that white car coming down behind Jamie Dyke. That is Wayne Walker. So Dyke's gone out in front. He's got about 1.5 seconds at the moment, and he'll be so thankful for that Angry Birds car that's between the two of them, because that's going to hold Walker up just enough for Jamie Dyke to get some temp into those tyres. G'day Sean. Yeah, look, from what I hear, David Logsdale just clicking the wrong car this evening, so not quite set up for your amazing NZ liveries. But he'll be back into it in no time, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's a mistake I've made once or twice before. Sometimes you just accidentally click into the wrong car, and yeah, we've all done it. I'm sure he'll be having an interesting night, getting used to driving the Chev. It's completely different car. The thing is, for anyone that's driven this game before, you'll know that these cars just handle very differently. Some drivers prefer driving the Mustang, some drivers prefer driving the Camaro, and some guys are quick in both. So hopefully David's one of those guys that's just figured out how to be relatively quick in both. Seems like he's struggling a little bit at the moment down the back of the field, but no doubt it's a learning experience for him. Nonetheless, this is Jamie Dyke, and I think, as you said, he's very grateful for that Angry Birds car between himself and Wayne Walker, because it's actually played to his advantage, been in his favour, that he is further ahead after that stop. So something may have happened there for Wayne Walker. I'm not entirely sure, because there was a relatively sizable gap between them after that stop, and they were pretty nose to tail before that.
Yeah, and look, that Angry Birds car definitely throwing Wayne Walker up, and he'll be frustrated, but he'll be handling it okay, as he always does. The thing is, every lap that you do on these tyres takes them further and further away from that first and second lap pace, which is where you get all of the speed. You see Dyke just working that MPI wheel left to right as he tries to keep control of the rear end of this car. He's throwing it up over all of these curves, trying to use every little bit of track, and that is a lap on board with Jamie Dyke, currently sitting in what will effectively be first. Let's have a look at what his time is as he comes across the line at 108.7. Behind him, Wayne Walker, 108.8. So this is the thing for Walker. He's basically used up pretty much the best of the times that he's going to get out of that set of tyres being stuck behind that Angry Birds car. That will be really difficult for him to try and stay with Jamie Dyke now, because Dyke has probably another 1 or 2 laps in his tyres to try and open that gap up, and it's out to 1.7 already and starting to extend ever so slightly. Still plenty of closer battles going on further back in the field. The two Quantum Racing entries find themselves alongside each other. Vargs and Sips in 18th and 19th, just ahead of Josh Harris. And ahead of them, Andrew Johnston from Team AJR, looking amazing in Sean's liveries, just to give it its due. G'day Ninja, welcome on in. How did you forget about Tuesday night racing with ASR, my friend? This is some of the best V8 supercar racing you're going to find anywhere on the iRacing service. In fact, on just about any racing sim. I might be biased, but I'll stick with it. You can see Varg's making a massive move on Johnston, so a big moment there. But have a look at Sipple looking for the opportunities. We come down in Daniel. He's going to get up the inside. Now take a look. Here comes Josh Harris, capitalises. Johnston just a little slow on the exit. And now it's a drag race. Harris and Sipple both heading to Dunlop corner. Harris is going to be on the outside at first. Can he get a bit of an over-under here, and can he get the power down as we head down the main straight once again? He's going to be right on Sipple's rear bumper. Let's see what he's got on the way down towards turn one. Does he have the extra pace, or is he going to have to wait it out? It doesn't look like he's going to get there for this turn. Let's go on board as we hit 260k an hour. Jumping hard on the brakes into turn one here. Harris looking to just maintain that distance to Sipple at the moment. He wants to be set up really, really nicely. The sparks fly off the underside of Sipple's Mustang as he just jumps up and over those curbs. And down we go the back straight here now. Let's see if Harris can actually hold with him. The gap starting to close, but only just. In fact, only a couple of hundredths, really. So Sipple's got a good exit there, but look at Josh Harris go. He pulls a few tenths out of it. It'll now be about the braking on the way into these S's. And Sips goes just a bit wide. That's going to be an opportunity for Josh Harris to close in here. Can he make anything of it on the way to Dandenong? He's not quite close enough this time around. But again, he finds himself all over the back end of Troy Sipple. Let's jump up further because Rick Weiger has just made his way past Ryan Palmer. Palmer's going to have a bit of a shot at this. Takes a look up the inside of turn number one. Nothing in it for now, but he's right there. And look at this. He's going to have a dive into the chicane. Really pushing hard here. Got to be careful not to make contact. Weiger maintains his composure and holds that spot. But have a look at the gap or lack thereof for Ryan Palmer. You would not fit a credit card sideways in between these two cars right now. And right behind them, none other than Luke Orman.
Yeah, Luke Orman, I think he's just, he's enjoying spectating this at the moment, just letting these two work it out. He's closed right up as a result of the, let's get the live cam, the cut to the man in the cockpit at the moment. Look at Ryan Palmer's basically just pushing Rick Weiger through Dandenong Road. They're going to get the blue flag car out of the way as they let the lead cars through, but Ryan Palmer is just not able to find a way past the moment, is he? Luke Orman biding his time. He's sitting right in behind these guys now. He's closed really right up to the back of these two, and this battle has not helped either of them really. Rick Weiger or Ryan Palmer sort of pull away, and they've got about 7 seconds on the road to Mark Poynton, who is in 7th place. So this is really the back end. This will be essentially whoever ends up worse off here will be getting pole for the next race, the Heat 2, the 37 lap race that we have coming up. So, and actually, as I say that, I believe that's Andrew Rushworth in the background in the Ford Mustang inviting himself to the party as well. So we're about to have 4 cars battling essentially for 8th place in this race, because this battle is just going to keep going. We've got a lapped car in the mix here as well, trying to let them through as quickly as possible. It's going to be an awkward spot to catch out Andrew Rushworth, and he's going to sort of drop off the back of these guys. Ryan Palmer has a little look up the inside on the Dandenong Road, and he gets side by side. He does draw alongside the car of Rick Weiger, this 014 car in front, but he wasn't able to make any moves, and he capitalise on that position. And now Andrew Rushworth, after dropping off after being behind a lap car, has closed right back up again because these guys continue to battle. This is an epic battle for the remaining spots in the top 10.
And on top of that, if I'm not mistaken, Michael Whiting in on it as well. So we've gone from just the 2 to then 3 to 4 to 5, and that's how quickly it turns here. But have a look at this. KO's looking up the inside of turn 1, and he's going to get the move done. Mick Clifton looks the over-under, a little bit of contact there. KO corrects. It does a beautiful job to stay firm and just keeps to the inside there to defend his position after that bit of contact. Stephen Varga will get the best of that as he catches up behind the two of them as well. But we jump further forward because have a look at this group charging down this back straight. Absolutely enormous amounts of pace on the way into the S's. Hard on the brakes, down they come, the 5 of them into Dandenong Road, and it's just a question of who blinks here. Everyone doing their best to just stay on that racing line and keep pace with the car in front. Rick Vigar, his mirror is absolutely full at the moment, and it's not any one particular team here tonight. He's got 4 different drivers, 4 different teams, all looking to reel him in.
Yeah, and this is what we spoke about earlier. It's super hard to pass around the circuit. Track position is key. So he's got 4 mirrors. He's going to be feeling the pressure, but he has got the track position. He's got the advantage. And it seems that Andrew Rushworth and Michael Whiting just dropped off a little bit on the exit of that front straight. Didn't quite capitalise. Ryan Palmer, he's really trying to find a way past his group up the inside. Almost there for Michael Whiting. He was getting keen. He was ready to pounce, ready to say, oh, come on, hurry up, boys. Let's get this on with. I want to get some positions here. And if they're not careful, Michael Steele-Allison, he's only 1.7 seconds off the back of this group. He could invite himself to the party. Michael Whiting has another look now on the run towards the kink at the end of the back straight, the left-hander, and he does get that move done. That's a really nice move from Michael Whiting, the 025 driver, up the inside, and that made that look pretty easy past Andrew Rushworth. And now Michael Steele-Allison, he's closing in even more. We're going to have a 6-way fight for 8th place in this race. Look at this train.
Probably worth checking in out in front. Jamie Dyke holding a very comfortable 1.9 seconds over Wayne Walker as we see Ryan Palmer come in to finally make his pit stop. Rick Vigar at the front of this group yet to make his as well. So really the battle here is between Allman, Whiting and Rushworth, with a nod to Steele-Allison from Gangatangus in the background, just ever so slowly closing in. Have a look though at the battle we've got a little further back. This is Josh Harris getting into it with the 2 Quantum boys, Sipple and Bentz, right on his tail. Huge amount of pressure for the ADHD driver, and the Quantum entries just trying to decide who's going to have first crack at him at this point. Jason Bentz, probably the right call ahead of Troy Sipple for now, because he's been making his way back up through the field after those early issues, and he'll drag Sips with him here down the back straight. But Harris gets a beautifully clean exit onto the straight, and he's going to maintain that gap all the way down as we head towards the S's once again. It's a quick lap, isn't it? You know, compared to a number of the tracks that these supercars tend to go to. It's not a very, very long circuit, but there's so much action every single lap, and it goes by so quickly. We're coming to the last 10 laps at a rapid rate, and I don't quite know what to expect from the front runners. You know, Jamie Dyke's got himself a nice gap set up, but whether he can maintain that pace and make it around another 10, Wayne Walker is starting to close in ever so slowly. And Dean Logsdale's right there as well. He's only a second off the back of Walker at the moment. A bit of a dark horse tonight, although it shouldn't be any surprise. David Coleman is right up there. He's in 5th at the moment. Jim Caperonis going with him, but he's up 6 spots from where he started this race. So definitely on the move. In fact, as we look down the tower, the only driver currently still where they started is Michael Whiting in 9th. And so he's managed to be, if nothing else, incredibly consistent. Luke Allman ahead of him, up 4 spots. And Andrew Rushworth behind, up 4 spots as well. So a lot of movement throughout the field, and there it is on your pictures now, folks. If you want to have a bit of a look at who the winners and losers have been this race so far, it's coming very, very quickly towards crunch time for all of these drivers, and hard to really know who's going to start to throw their weight around a bit here. It's where do we even start at this point, Isaac? I think we stay right here because Luke Allman under enormous pressure from Michael Whiting. He's looking to finally pick up another spot from where he starts. Allman defends beautifully on the inside and run into that chicane. And Rushworth quite happy to just sit in for the moment. He's going to let Allman and Whiting just battle this one out. Have a look at Mitchell Steele-Allison though. He's been closing in. Just a 10th here, a 10th there, and all of a sudden he's within a second to Andrew Rushworth. So he'll be in amongst this in no time at all as we take a bit of a look further up the field. Wayne Walker, you can see Jamie Dyke just pulling away at the front of our shot there, and behind him Dean Logsdale continues to just gain a little bit of pace. Andrew Rushworth has just picked up a slowdown. So not surprising on the way through the S's. Watch him drop off the back here as he tries desperately to burn that off, but that's going to open up the door for Mitchell Steele-Allison, who closes in now to within half a second. And what a time for that slowdown to happen. Steele-Allison's got a real opportunity, if he's brave on the brakes, to make something of this at turn 1.
Yeah, it's a really awkward time for Andrew Rushworth to be served a slowdown. He's really sitting comfortably in behind these two as now looks to the outside as Michael Whiting on Luke Allman. These guys are getting racy at the front, and this could still open the door up for Andrew Rushworth. He's sitting in 10th spot at the moment. He doesn't want to lose a spot. Ideally, he doesn't want to gain a spot either, but I wouldn't count him out for wanting to move forward. He definitely does not want to move backwards, because if you go backwards here, you'll lose that pole position, or just that really good starting position you get finishing in the back half of the top 10 coming to the next race. David Coleman's now earned himself a slowdown, I'd say, for a similar thing of maybe using a little bit too much of the track through the S's. So getting in a little bit of trouble there with the iRacing stewards. They're saying you've got to serve a slowdown, and he's not Jim Capronis right behind him, so that could leave him vulnerable to losing a spot in that top 5 for a man that's driven really well today, hasn't he? He's just really put on a good display, up, as you said, up 4 spots, and now he's coming under pressure from Jim Capronis as a result of that slowdown, but still P5 at the moment for David Coleman, a really good result. And there's a lot of drivers that have had really good feel-good stories today. Jason Benstow is one of those drivers that's just not gone his way today, has it?
It hasn't, but in saying that, he's been all over the back of Josh Harris here. Harris is doing a great job to hold him off, but I think this might be it. Benz is finally going to make the move. Harris is looking for an over-under here if he can make it work. Ben's just a bit of a slide as he gets the power down. Harris is just going to have to drop in behind. That's been brewing for a while now. Benz has been just constantly hovering within a couple tenths of Harris's rear bar, and that's been just enough pace down the main straight for Benz to make his way through. But look at him storm away, and now he's out in front. It really tells you just how much Josh Harris has been holding Jason Benz up through his defence.
Yeah, it's just Jason Benz he's really worked hard to try and get past Josh Harris. Josh Harris has made that Chevrolet as wide as possible. May not have the pace necessarily, as he loses another spot now to Troy Sipple. So he's run wide there at some stage and has opened the door for Troy Sipple to go through. So it's going from bad to worse for Josh Harris. We see a replay here through the S's.
Just a great send from Sips, honestly.
This is a great send. Forces Josh Harris a little bit wide, but that was a really, really bold move, a really strong move from Troy Sipple. And hats off to him for getting that done, because that was quite spectacular indeed. We go back to this battle, though. 5th place and 6th place. David Colbert, Jim Capronis, the last spot inside the top 5 in this race. We've got about 8 laps to go, 7 when they cross the line, so not a lot of time. We are slowly running out of laps left in this race for anyone to make an inroad, make positions happen. But Jim Capronis, he will bide his time. He'll make sure that he leaves it as late, maybe not necessarily as late as possible, but you want to make sure that David Coleman has limited opportunity to come back at him if he does get this move done.
You know, you talk about ASR and battles being right throughout this pack, pretty much anywhere. We're going to go back to Simon Farrington here with Andrew Johnston. These guys are both lapped at the moment, so they're a lead off the lead lap, but absolutely on the charge still for 25th. Johnston's got Farrington all over the back of him. G'day, Bob. Welcome to the chat. It is indeed live commentary, my friend. Every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday night, Simple Racing broadcasts can be found somewhere doing some kind of live commentary. We're glad to have you along with us. Farrington, look, he had that early moment that sent him all the way to the back of the field, and so he's not going to feature up the front end tonight, but he's doing an amazing job trying to work his way back through it. Meanwhile, up towards the front of the field, but actually just a little way behind those guys, Luke Allman still in the fight of his life for 8th. Michael Whiting absolutely threatening every single turn, and Allman's going to have to be just perfect on every apex from here for the next 5-6 laps if he wants to hold on to this spot. Andrew Rushworth has his own battle to think about as well. He's perfectly poised at the moment for race number 2. Of course, a reverse top 10 grid's going to see him start from the front row if he can hold on to 10th. Mitchell Steele-Allison, that yellow and pink Ukanga Tangus Racing entry is right there. He's just waiting for an opportunity. But Allman and Whiting now starting to just run away with it ever so slightly and separate out this group that's been locked in for, what do you reckon, about the last 10 laps. I think we've seen most of these guys somewhere around this sort of gap from each other.
Yeah, I don't think they've really separated. There's been a couple other drivers that have been involved in this battle pack, like Ryan Palmer, Rick Vigard, and they've had to come into the pit lane for tyres or whatever reason, and that means they've dropped off from this pack. But the core group has not really separated from each other. We're watching a replay here of Ashley Hall, and just corner. Gasses it up too early at Pertec corner, spins. That's a really awkward spot to be stuck there on the outside of the corner, and everyone's done really well just to avoid him. And just into the barrier.
A little late on the clutch for the flick spin there, yeah.
Tried to gas it up, put the clutch in to flick spin it, but just didn't get it done quick enough, and that's probably a substantial amount of damage on the front end, maybe a bit beyond aero damage there. I'd say there might be a little bit of steering damage on that car, but nevertheless, it's a mistake I'm sure we've all made once or twice before. I'm just noting as well, Wayne Walker, he's starting to close that gap on Jamie Dyke, so they're down to just about 6/10 now. So he's pushing at the front in a last moment push to try and take the lead of this race. Looks up the inside as Michael Whiting on Luke Ullman once again.
The pressure is on, isn't it?
The pressure is on. The pressure is on for all of these drivers. No one can afford to make a mistake. And Luke Ullman, he is feeling the pressure, but he also knows that Michael Whiting's the one that's got to try and get this move done. So the pressure is very much on him to make it happen.
We'll keep an eye on that timing up the front, because Wayne Walker has picked up just a couple of tenths on that last lap. The timing's very, very close. A 108.7 for Jamie Dyke, a 108.6 for Wayne Walker. So, look, if I know anything about Jamie Dyke, he's managing that gap very, very carefully. He wants to make sure that he's running as close to the fuel number as he possibly can without allowing that gap to actually come down any further. So I think you'll find he's probably just driving the gap at the moment and trying to hold Wayne Walker there while keeping something in reserve if he does need to push hard. Mick Clifton has a great run on Caofillo as they come to Dunlop Corner. He's not quite going to get there, but can he get something set up for turn one? And this is always the way with Gen 3 Supercars. You see him run wide on the exit to just try and open that line up. It's going to cost him some pace, though. And in the background, Jason Bent's absolutely storming down. He's cut already a tenth and a half, 2 tenths out of Mick Clifton at the same time that Clifton's dropping back from KO now. There's not going to be much in it, but Jamie Dyke under pressure now, 4 tenths to Wayne Walker. This is coming down in a hurry. Has Dyke under fueled? Has he maybe left it just a little bit light and he just doesn't have enough left to push at full pace here, or is he starting to make mistakes? Hard to say. Let's stick with it and see what we can pick up here on this lap. We've only got a couple left, and Jamie Dyke now is going to really start to feel the pinch, because Wayne Walker is right there, almost completely hidden by Dyke's car in the camera shot, but he is all over the rear bar of that green and black Fishy Motorsports Mustang. And this is going to mean a real fight for Jamie Dyke for what is left of this first race here tonight.
Yeah, and don't count out Dean Logsdale. He's sitting at about a second away, but Wayne Walker, he's going to want to make this happen very quickly, because if he does not, then Dean Logsdale is certainly going to invite himself to this little party that they've got going on here for the lead of the race. He's very much watching this, probably rubbing his hands together. Very late on the brakes there for Wayne Walker. Closes up quite a lot as they run into Dandenong Road, now down towards the final chicane. A good drive off here for Wayne Walker will set him up for a move into turn one if he can get the power down. He's closed right up. Look at how much more speed he's carried through the first phase of that chicane, but it's a better run off the corner for Jamie Dyke. So Wayne Walker is going to have to sit in the slipstream here. It's not going to be enough this time around. He needs a better run through that final chicane. He got a really good run through the first stage, but just the second stage, he just wasn't able to get the power down as quick as Jamie Dyke was. We've got a car backwards at turn one, so there's someone off the road. It's Ryan Palmer, so he's returned to the pit lane. It's a tumultuous night for him, up and down for the ADHD driver. Now, good exit off of the Pertec corner for Wayne Walker, but it was also a good exit for Jamie Dyke. These two are going blow for blow at the moment, and it seems that Jamie Dyke's just lifting a little bit here at the end of this race to try and hold off Wayne Walker. He's seen him coming, he's kept a little bit in the tank, and now he's pushing at this late stage of the race.
While we've been watching this, Michael Whiting has finally got the move. Luke Ullman just blinks for a moment, gets caught behind his teammate, and unfortunately Michael Whiting makes the move at that point. So Luke Orman now will be chasing and trying to pull that position back. Andrew Rushworth still hanging in there for the moment to P10, but Mitchell Steele Allison is right in amongst it. And that's the white flag.
That is the white flag. So here we go. This is the last opportunity for Wayne Walker, and I just don't think he's close enough into turn 1.
No, he's going to have to really work. He's really only got 2 or 3 opportunities from here. I mean, he's going to be happy to make sure he brings it home safe. He's not going to do anything silly, but it's going to take a pretty momentous error from Jamie Dyke for this to come unstuck here. But that might be all it takes. Wayne Walker is tucked right in behind as we make our way down the back straight for the last time here in race number 1. Wayne Walker starting to reel it in. Is he going to have a go into the S's? Surely he's got to poke the nose out here. There it is. He just takes a quick look, tries to throw Jamie Dyke off his rhythm. Down through the S's they come. Jamie Dyke using every single bit of that curb to make sure he can carry all of the pace, and it's worked out for him. He's picked up 2/10 on Wayne Walker. That's going to be it. Jamie Dyke is going to hold this all the way. He's got one last chicane, one last shot for Wayne Walker to try and make a move here, but this will be it. Jamie Dyke rounds the final corner, gets the power down, a bit of a slide in the background from Wayne Walker, and that's going to solidify it as we come across the line. There's the checkered flag. Jamie Dyke, Wayne Walker, Dean Logsdale, your top 3, and daylight back to Matt Vanderkraan, who's coming home now ahead of David Coleman and Jim Caparonis. The 3 of them will finish only separated by a few tenths each. And really behind them, this battle that we've been watching with Whiting and Allman, still carrying on, but I think Whiting's going to hold on to it now. There's not really going to be anything that Luke Allman can do to reel that back in. Andrew Rushworth, in the end, actually gives that position up to Mitchell Steele Allison, and it was a late pass. We'll have a quick look at that one. Really, Steele Allison just got the much better run out of Pertec corner and alongside of the S's, commits a little bit of a rubber panels there, and that is enough for Steele Allison to just charge on through, and he will be stoked to be on the front row for race number 2.
Yeah, he will be absolutely thrilled to be on the front row. I really might take my hat off as well to the top 3, top 2 even. This is Ryan Palmer, just sideways.
Downshift, he's popped the motor.
In the downshift. He's popped the motor, and that's why you blip the throttle, kids. Do not just try and downshift and over rev the car. You've got to blip the throttle to make sure you look after these engines, because that is so easy to do. I think there's a few of us that have done that once or twice before, but I take my hat off to Jamie Dyke and Wayne Walker. That battle at the end was absolutely magnificent, and Wayne Walker through the back, the left-hander at the end of the back straight in towards the S's. He had the thing cranked sideways on the slide, managed to catch it, but it cost him all the time. I think if he'd got a good run through there and was clean enough, he probably could have had to go into Dandenong Road, but still, Jamie Dyke takes the win in race 1, and what a race it was.
Absolutely. He'll be stoked with that result. It's one of his favourite tracks. I know that for a fact. So Jamie Dyke will be fighting his way back through from 10th in race number 2, but every chance we're going to see him up on the podium again and get to have a bit of a chat to Wayne Walker. Oh, so close. He'll be happy with the points. There's not as much separating it as it ordinarily might be. And Dean Logsdale continues to build a pretty good case for staying at the top of this championship leaderboard at the end of tonight. Matt Vanderkraan, good to see him finally back into the sort of results that we're used to seeing from him. A 4th place here is no surprise either. David Coleman and Jim Caparonis there, as well as Mark Point and Michael Whiting. Luke Allman and then Mitchell Steele Allison at the death picks up that 10th spot, all important for the reverse top 10 grid in race number 2. Ryan Palmer just checking in, mentioning the ADHD curse, that pop of the motor. I was going to say, usually popping the motor on a V8 Supercar is a Josh Harris specialty, but he's obviously been giving his teammates a few pointers on how to double downshift and just let it take its natural course. Just help those conrods, explore the great wide world with a new window in their home. That is not the first time, and certainly won't be the last time, that we see one of these Gen 3 Supercar motors go. They're so sensitive to that extra downshift, or even just a bit of an over rev. And look, it does add a fun little element for us to keep a bit of an eye on throughout these races. It's not something we get to see every week, but it's nice to have cars that respond as you would expect them to. If you over rev them, the engine just doesn't keep taking it. It will just let go.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. These cars are, look, they're designed for speed. They're designed to be looked after, and you need to make sure that you're looking after, especially on the downshift. It's so easy to pop these motors, and I have just, if Ryan Palmer is listening, just want to let you know, popping a motor is not good for car speed. Or at least that's what I'm told. So I would strongly recommend to anyone that's listening, do not pop a motor on a supercar. It's not going to make you faster. But yeah, it's just making sure that
this is why I've got your long, Isaac. It's the expert knowledge.
The expert knowledge. This is what I provide to this broadcast, is the insider expert knowledge on how to effectively drive a V8 supercar quickly and effectively. And how you do that is you don't pop the motor.
We've got just a couple of minutes left, folks, until we do get underway with race number 2. Another 37 laps lie ahead. Go and get yourselves a bit of a refill if you haven't already. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back with you.
Providing the best for your family means a healthy, secure, and comfortable environment. But the daily risks your family faces are often invisible. Solar Guard performance films protect what matters most to you. While you're concentrating on the task at hand, we're protecting your family from uncomfortable solar heat, harmful UV light, and glare. Our window films and protective coatings are designed with decades of technical expertise and provide a vision towards the future. Solar Guard provides added protection to the places where they're needed most, creating invisible barriers for increased security. The people of Solar Guard design carbon-negative solutions that can help reduce energy costs and improve comfort. Allow us to tackle the invisible challenges so you can focus on the important things in life. What matters most to you? We're on it. Saint-Gobain, Solar Guard.
All right, welcome back, folks. We are just about ready to start gridding up for race number 2. If you're not aware of the layout for this evening, here it is again. 37 laps again here in race 2. A reverse top 10 grid will pay dividends for Mitchell Steele Allison in particular. He'll jump from 10th all the way up to 1st on the grid for this race. The track temp coming down, unsurprisingly, with the cooler air temps down to 21 degrees, and that's going to add a bit of a challenge, particularly in the opening laps of this second race, Isaac, as the drivers will just take a little bit longer to get the temperature into the tyres.
Yeah, so we spoke about how race 1, 33 degree track temperature. It was going to be ideal conditions for these tyres, for these cars. It wasn't too hot, wasn't too cold, sort of in that Goldilocks zone. Now we're in the too cold phase. So changing tyres here, look for drivers who will come in for a stop early in this race to be struggling with temperature in the early laps, especially at the start of the race here as well. Turn 1 is going to be a real challenge for these drivers. They're going to be struggling into turn 1 because they won't have the tyre temperature just yet. It's going to give them maybe 2 or 3 laps for these tyres to fully come up to temperature, and we're going to see that in pit stops as well. So I think the overcut here, I'm going to go for a bold call and say the overcut might actually be the way to go in this race with the lower track temperature.
Well, we'll try and keep an eye on a couple of these strategies they play out. This is what the grid looks like for race number 2. Mitchell Steele Allison and Luke Orban will start from the front. Michael Whiting and Mark Poynton right behind them, with Jim Caperonis and David Coleman just switching spots from where they finished in race 1. Matt Vanderkraan and Dean Logsdale on row number 4, then Wayne Walker and Jamie Dyke starting from row 5 and looking to fight their way back to the front. Andrew Rushworth and Damon Fisher behind them on row 6, then Stephen Varga and Jason Bentz ahead of Mick Clifton and Keo Fillo. Troy Sipple and Josh Harris side by side on row number 9 ahead of Rick Vigar and Mitch Wood, rounding out your top 20. Alex Kiedis and Brad Hayes behind them, with Craig Schulz and Simon Farrington lining up alongside each other. Andrew Johnston and Craig Rose, then Ashley Hall and Ryan Palmer, followed by David Longsdale and Darren Walden at the back of the pack. Tim Nicol and Brad Grant standing by in the safety cars once again. Hopefully we'll get away with not needing them again this time around, because it was a bit of a surprise to not see them come out and pay us a visit there in race 1, Isaac.
Well, I did say that there was pretty short odds on the safety car appearing, and so far my my
good
bet,
thing
my
we're not
bet is not
betting on
paying
this,
off.
eh?
My bet is not paying. That's
Yeah.
right. If I was a betting man, I'd be losing a lot of money at this stage. So we'll have to wait and see if there's a safety car in this race. But I'd say significantly lower or higher odds for a safety car in this race, considering what we had last time. But it looks like we've pretty much got all the cars here. We're not too far away from a race start for this last 37 laps of the evening.
And this is always the challenge, right? Watch this start from a lot of these drivers. It's so easy for them to forget that they've just come off 37 laps with hot tyres. We're going to see a pile up into turn one. I can almost guarantee it. We've got the lights up on the grid. The cars starting to line up on that trans brake, and Luke Orman and Mitchell Steele Allison beat us off. A lot of smoke in the background. I thought we might have an incident already, but it looks like we're relatively clean, at least down to the entry to turn one. We're 2 and 3 wide though, and a big wide moment for Steele Allison. All that's done is give Luke Orman a huge advantage early on, and he's going to look to hold on to that. Jim Caperonis picks up a slowdown. Michael Whiting picks up a slowdown. So look, early on for that, and they're going to have to clear those, and they're going to get caught in some pretty heavy traffic. But for Orman and Steele Allison, it's a dream start as they start to make their way down the back straight. And here comes this entire field of V8 supercars. Have a listen to them on the way past.
Oh, they just sound so good. There's nothing like a true Aussie V8 car. And oh man, Wayne Walker, he's up. Is that 1, 2, 3 spots so far? There's now 4 spots. He's jumped up ahead of Jim Caperonis and Michael White.
That was a very awkward clear of that slowdown. Pulled off to the side and jumped on the brakes.
Yes.
I don't know what's happened there.
Very
That's very strange. He's all the way back in 17th now. Luke Orman at 108.3, avoiding all of the noise out in front. Have a look at the gap though between Orman, Allison, Poynton, and Walker. There's absolute daylight at the end of a lap double one, and you'd have to think that for Luke Orman, he's pretty keen to keep it that way. It's going to be a big ask. A lot of cars between now and then are going to have a crack at him. But here's Jason Bentz all over the back of. Just trying to figure this out as to what's going on. Yeah, Dean Logsdale. I almost didn't recognise him. He's changed the colour scheme up a bit on that 9.5 SimSport entry, if I'm not mistaken, and it's threw me a little bit. I'm looking at going, that can't be Logsdale. It certainly is. It's looking absolutely brilliant in the black and red there. And look, maybe it's just that I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking about David Logsdale all the way down the back in the wrong car, wrong colours. Possibly.
It could be a chance. I think Dean Logsdale also flew under the radar on that first race as well. He was ranging up to the back of Dyke and Walker towards the end, but he just sort of flew under the radar. Speaking of Jamie Dyke, he's in a battle here with David Coleman and Michael Whiting. He had a little bit of a look at the three fishy motorsport cars locked in combat here, 5th, 6th and 7th on the road. And you would think he had a little bit of he considered almost going down the inside of David Coleman here, but I think they just want to play maybe a little bit nice with each other being teammates. They don't want to anger each other too much, but they also are fighting for track position, 4 points, and every single point will count in this championship, and they all know that. So there'll be a certain point where there's a bit of respect shown, but I'm sure the gloves will come off just as well as they would with anybody else at some point. So
I can tell you, look, I know, Isaac, you're relatively new to the ASR race crowd, but I can tell you from hard-fought experience and watching plenty of races with these guys over time, there is absolutely a key rule with Fishy Motorsports, and that is that unless it is absolutely, dire straits, championship on the line somewhere, team orders don't exist for Fishy Motorsport. They will race each other just as hard as about anyone else on the track that they come across. So don't expect any punches pulled from Coleman, from Dyke, or from Whiting. If they see an opportunity, they're going to push and they're going to try and make the most of it.
That's the sort of team orders that I like, I'll be honest. The more the gloves off, the better it is. Especially when there's 3 or 4 team cars all together, you don't really want to see anyone just sort of going, oh no, after you, please. I like to see them get the elbows out and have a little bit of a battle. And speaking of elbows out, Mitchell Steele Allison, he's going to have to get the elbows out here because he's got Mark Poynton right behind him now. And that's Chevy Camaro. It is sniffing the potential at getting past, because Luke Allman's really just walked away to the distance. Big slide there from Mitchell Steele Allison. He's done well to catch it, but it's going to leave him vulnerable here down the front straight. He has another stab at trying to turn through the kink. It took him a couple of goes to turn through the kink there. I think he's opened the steering a bit to provide room for Mark Poynton, who's going to range past the Mustang up the inside and now into P2. And that has just, again, given another half a second to Luke Allman. Now a 3-second lead for the man that started on the front row. He has started to really walk away with this. And now Mark Poynton, he's got his way past Mitchell Steele Allison. Can he pull away here and try and reel in the man at the front?
And the more that these guys battle here, the better the story is for the Team AJR driver up front. Luke Allman will be very, very happy to just sit in there with a 3.2 second lead, and more importantly, looking at the gap from Steele Allison back to Walker. 1.3 seconds, it's coming down as Walker starts to reel these guys in, but it's enough of a gap that he's not getting the tiny bit of aero assistance that does exist behind a Gen 3 supercar, and that's going to make it really even more difficult for Walker to reel him in. All of this is playing in Luke Allman's favour right now. It's early days, but it's a brilliant start for Team AJR. We'll take a look a little bit further back in the field, because we've got so many battle packs once again. We're sitting right in the middle of this battle for 11th right now. Andrew Rushworth out in front with Damon Fisher a half second off the back, then Mick Clifton and Stephen Varga behind them. Dean Logsdale getting into it just a little further up the road with Matty Vanderkraan and Jason Bentz behind him. So these three are locked in for 8th. There is plenty going on right throughout the field. We actually take a look back now to 23rd, 24th, 25th. Craig Rose under pressure with Andrew Johnston and Mitch Wood. And Johnston just having a bit of a moment. Mitch Wood barely holds on to that Mustang. He's throwing a lot at it here. Johnston just, both of them clipping the curb and just putting the power down a little too aggressively. And you can see Mitch Wood almost just has a bit of a reset moment, backs off it and goes, yeah, okay, time to take a breath and try again. It's so easy to get sucked into that sort of battle, and you end up just both pushing way too hard. And I think probably the best decision, although perhaps Mitch Wood took a little bit too much out of it to regather his thoughts there. We'll jump back up because Dean Logsdale now finds himself under enormous pressure from Jason Bentz, who's looking to just atone for his race 1 result. He's absolutely looking for it. And take a look at Logsdale just defending that inside to the last minute. Bentz moves to the inside. He's going to be late under brakes and makes it look easy in the end. But have a look at Logsdale back on the inside. A beautiful over-under move through turn 1 puts him back in front into the chicane. And Bentz just had nothing to come back at him with there. That was brilliantly executed.
That is absolutely textbook from Dean Logsdale. The switchback, if I've ever seen it before, perfectly executed. Just knew that Bentz was going to carry a lot of speed into that corner. Let him make the move, let him carry the speed, and then just drove underneath him back up into that 9th place position. This is KO, Phil O. He is battling away with Josh Harris side by side in towards the left hand at the end of the back straight. That's a bold move now.
So there's contact. Caparonis is into the wall.
Massive contact.
KO Phil O bounces off. Jim Caparonis has ended up in the wall in a big way. Can he get that car moving? I think that rear axle is done, and this could be our first safety car of the night.
Very well could be. He's trying to get it moving. Look at that car just dragging the rear axle. He spins around. Look at the front end.
Oh, he's not going anywhere now. He's put himself in a really dangerous spot.
David Logsdale done well to navigate that very safely there. And
brilliant effort from Caparonis to get that going.
Brilliant effort, but he's given the black and orange flag, and he'll have to bring that into the lane because that car is in no state to continue around this circuit. And now into turn 1, this is Andrew Johnson and Mitch Wood.
They picked it back up where they left off last lap. I love things.
Certainly have. It is business as usual for these two. So Mitch Wood has closed right back up. He's at his breather, and now they're going to business as usual. Service has resumed, and they're going to battle away. So KO Phillo's come into the lane. He's repaired the damage on that car after that heavy contact with Jim Capronis. And now Jim Capronis back in the lane. I'd say he'll be there for quite some time trying to repair that rear axle.
You can see he's really struggled to get it back. He tries to brake. I don't think he realised just how much damage there actually was there. as we go back, let's take a look at the moment that set it all off. Caperonis sees the opportunity up the inside of Philo here, sends it, but as they come together, the overlap just a bit too heavy and spins around, absolutely belts Philo's car on the way back around, and unfortunately for Caperonis, huge amount of damage to the front left of that car. He will probably get away with it having a fast repair up his sleeve, and that's something he'll be very, very thankful for not having used yet, because that's got him back out on track with only 10 seconds in the bay. The big question is, has he managed to put on enough fuel there that he might make it home without having to take another stop? It's unlikely, but not impossible.
It is unlikely, but again, strange things have happened, and there is a long way to go in this race, and we do not necessarily know for Jim Caperonis what he's been able to do, what he's been able to pull off as a result of that pit stop and use that fast repair, which is coming in very handy. This is Mitchell Steele-Armstrong and Mark Poynton. They're still going at it, so Mark Poynton hasn't really been able to capitalise after getting that move done on Mitchell Steele-Allison and chase after Luke Ullman, who still sits at just over 3 seconds. And now their battle is inviting Wayne Walker into the party. David Coleman, Jamie Dyke and Michael Whiting also not too far behind this. We could see a repeat of what we saw last race, Jared, where there was about 5 or 6 cars that just one by one invited themselves into the battle, and we had about a 6 or 7 car battle at one stage. We could see that for second place here.
And I can tell you right now what these guys don't want. Poynton, Steele, Allison, Walker, they don't want 3 Fishy Motorsports cars showing up in the middle of this battle, because, you know, we said before, no team orders, but if you've got 3 Fishy Motorsports cars that can all benefit, you better believe they're going to be working together to carve this little group up. So David Coleman, the first one who looks like he's going to reach the back of it. Wayne Walker just a little bit too far off the back to really be a single pack, but you see them close up through that Dunlop corner, and here come the Fishy cars. Wayne Walker sees the writing on the wall. He's going to go in and try for the undercut. That's a brilliant tactical decision from Walker, and I think you'll find that that'll pay off for him. We have seen Dean Logsdale come in on lap 7, so a bit of an early stop, but immediately after on those fresh tyres runs a 108.22, so he's trying for that undercut as well. And worth noting that with that clean air, he's run, a good 2-3 tenths faster than anyone else's fastest lap. If he can continue to back that up, he's a long way down in the field at the moment, sitting in 24th, but the undercut in these cars is super, super strong.
Yeah, the undercut in these cars, they're very powerful. We spoke about, though, there is lower temperatures now, lower track temperature. It's going to be a little bit more difficult to bring those tyres up to temp. So it will depend how long those race leaders stay out for what the advantage will actually be for Wayne Walker in this race. And that's something we'll keep a very close eye on. This is Mitch Wood and Craig Rose now. So Mitch Wood has actually found his way past Andrew Johnson, who's now under pressure from Troy Sipple. Dean Logsdale.
Yeah, it's coming together back here as well. Johnston just went a little bit wide out of turn 1, which allowed Mitch Wood through, but now Johnston's going to have a real fight on his hands as they come down through the S's. Mitch Wood starting to really pressure Craig Rose. A bit of a mistake there from Troy Sipple, although maybe intentional to try and hold Dean Logsdale bay. Logsdale gets a beautiful little drive out of the corner. It's not going to be quite enough, but he is going to set up very, very nicely for a bit of a run at turn 1. We'll keep a very close eye on this. As you see, Mitch Wood just charges on through and gets past Craig Rose in the end. But unfortunately for Dean Logsdale, just has overcooked it through that Dunlop turn, and he's now going to have to make his way all the way through. The real challenge for him, he's already been in for his stop. He can't really afford to come in and get that repair done. So I reckon he's going to try and actually drive this all the way to the end, and that is going to be a hell of an effort if he can actually hold it together.
It's going to be a mission and a half for Dean Logsdale to take this car to the end of the race. And he was super frustrated because the risk of pitting early, like Dean Logsdale has here, out of traffic, he was in probably 8th or 9th battling with Jason Bench and Andrew Rushworth. So he was probably in this battle that we're seeing on our screen now. And as that's Andrew Rushworth into the pit lane, freeing up Damon Fisher and Stephen Varga to battle away at the front of the field. But it was just one of those things. You wanted to get out of traffic, you clear the way, and then you get stuck behind slower cars at the back end of the field, and they have every right to defend the position to make sure that they don't just let you walk on past. And Indeed, 14 Longsdale has meant that he's now had an incident with Troy Sipple and is suffering the consequences, the damage as a result. So he'll be super frustrated with that, but that's what happens when you try and play the game here. You try and make inroads early, and now we're seeing Wayne Walker as well. He's riding behind Brad Hayes, so that's going to be a challenge for Wayne Walker because the front guys are still out, still rolling around, so there's opportunity for Wayne Walker to make inroads, but he's got to try and get past these guys that are in 15th, 16th, 14th spot even to make that inroad really count. Otherwise, you'll just get held up in traffic.
This is the moment for Dean Logsdale where he's centered, he's clipped that curb, and you see it so many times at Dunlop. That inside curb is really aggressive, and unfortunately the wall just waiting there to meet look, frankly, a pretty awful rejoin there from Dean Logsdale. I don't know if he realised that David Logsdale was on his way at that point, and thankfully Logsdale having the peace of mind to not run into Dean. That would have been a little awkward, I suspect.
Just a little bit awkward, I think.
A bit of family drama, always good for a Tuesday night.
Yeah, we do like a little bit of family drama. So maybe that would have been exciting if they did run into each other. But I think they're pretty glad that they managed to avoid each other. And it was a good presence of mind there from David to make sure there was no contact. This is Jason Bentz battling away with Matt Vanderkraan. This is 7th spot. So Jason Bentz continues on his recovery drive. He's pushing back through the field. He started on the front row in race 1, had that spin that was ruled due to net code, and then a 5-second penalty as well for some contact later on in the race. So he was in the walls in race 1. He's fought back well though in race 2, and he's looking at a really strong result here. If he can get past Matt Vanderkraan, he'll be able to set after Michael Whiting.
We'll take you now to what I reckon will be one of the most dangerous battles on track. It's Josh Harris and Ryan Palmer being nose to tail. Now, I'm gonna call this out for anyone who hasn't happened to see much of the MC Motorsport racing on a Monday night with these guys. But there was a very, very famous moment, which I believe, if memory serves, was a Supercar season, although it may have been different cars. I'm sure these guys will remind me later. Where Harris and Palmer were sitting 1-2. There were radio comms around, look, let's not do anything silly, let's just race hard, get to the end, take the 1-2. And Palmer couldn't help himself, saw an opening, took it, and wiped them both out. Now, I don't want to say that that's what happens every time, but Palmer's there, he's closing on Josh Harris, and you can see him floating around. He's going to make the move here. Josh Harris probably sweating buckets at the moment, and as a very, very wise decision, gives plenty of room there to Ryan Palmer to come through. Unfortunately for Josh Harris, going so wide, it's cost him some time, and Alex Kiedis and Rick Vigar starting to close in behind. So this will be interesting. Fastest lap, incidentally, Wayne Walker 108.17 on his last lap. So the undercut going to look pretty strong here. Luke Orman, Mitchell Steele-Allison, and Jason Bentz all into the pits. So keep your eye now on Wayne Walker, because he's coming down now. Have a look up the front there, exiting the pits right now. That's Luke Orman. He's not going to have the pace, so they're going to come out side by side, but Wayne Walker is going to breeze on past. And Luke Orman needs to get the foot down and needs to really get these tyres up to temp very, very quickly. Wayne Walker's going to have to do everything he can to capitalise on this second advantage that he's got at the moment.
That undercut has indeed paid dividends for Wayne Walker. He now effectively leads this race. And that is a very smart strategy. I didn't know if it would necessarily pay off, but I think he's just made it work, has Wayne Walker. And now, before Luke Orman's tyres come up to temperature, he needs to build as much of a gap as possible, because he won't have long before the tyres on that 35 Chevy are up to temp, and he's pushing back after him. I will say as well, just back on the Ryan Palmer, Josh Harris thing. Ryan Palmer, a man known to have plenty of patience. He's very famous for his likes to bide his time, but he's very wide there.
Jason Bentz has gone super wide, just overcooks the braking.
I believe that's
Mitch Wood says thank you very much.
So cold tyres for Jason Bentz, which will not be making it easy, but yeah, Mitch Wood says thank you, and a slowdown for your trouble, if you don't mind, for Jason Bentz. That's going to cost him even more time.
Interestingly, Bentz took those tyres on lap 15. I would have thought that, well, if he's taken tyres for that matter, it was a fairly quick stop, but I suspect he has. I am surprised to see that he's struggled so much there, because after a couple of laps he should have enough temp that shouldn't be happening. So I think probably just under a bit of pressure from Mitch Wood, just misjudged the braking marker ever so slightly, and that's been enough. Have a look out front though. Fishy Motorsport, Fishy Motorsport, Fishy Motorsport. Jamie Dyke and Michael Whiting behind David Coleman. There's a little bit of separation to Coleman up the road as Michael Whiting comes in to make his pit stop. So these guys will start to just split it out a little bit. You can see Dean Logsdale just behind Jamie Dyke there. He's a lap down at the moment, which is unfortunate. He's had to come back in. He's used his fast repair. Only spent 4 seconds in the bay, but at a 26-second pit lane transit time in total is absolutely going to take you all the way back through the field. So not the night that Dean Logsdale would have hoped for. What he's really hoping for now, is, of course, is a safety car. Yeah, we'll see if he gets his wish. And it does look like there's enough of a separation now between Ryan Palmer and Josh Harris that safety car looks unlikely once again.
Well, I think we can chill out of this. This is Mitch Wood up the inside of Michael Whiting. So Mitch Wood, he's on a charge here. He is pushing hard to try and make some inroads through this field. I'm not sure if he has served his stop yet, but he is. He did
have an early stop. It looks as though whether he's started from the pits, because we're showing that he went into the pits on lap 0, which is a little unusual. I think it might have been the end of lap 1, perhaps, and it's just not recorded properly. That's an interesting one. But yeah, look, it's probably too early for him to be getting home on that sort of fuel. Bear in mind that Michael Whiting was just out of the pits, so he'll be on cold tyres as Mitch Wood's come past. Watch for this though, Michael Whiting's about to absolutely chew him on this next lap. Those tyres will already be starting to get some good temp in, and Mark Poynton sets a 108.11 on his relatively fresh tyres, so he's looking to make a move up in 7th. And here comes Michael Whiting, the tyres up to temp. He's going to feel pretty confident here. He's right up the inside. He's got just enough overlap that he's going to think about a move, and he's sticking to it. Absolutely just committed to that move, and he needs to get back across and shut the door. Wood drops in behind, doesn't quite have the pace out of the turn, and Whiting's brand new tyres, this will be the fastest time that he gets out of them, and it could not have come a moment sooner, rather. Ninja just confirming, yeah, you can't pit on lap 1, doesn't count towards your stops. Spot on, which is why there's no way that the Mitch Wood is not coming in again at some point. So he's up 8 spots from where he started right now, but he's going to have a stop in there somewhere. Really, his best bet at the moment is to just stay out as long as he possibly can in the hope of a safety car, giving him a bit of a less expensive pit stop.
Yeah, I think hoping for a safety car at this stage with Ryan Palmer and Josh Harris being so far apart, as you said, is very unlikely, as Mark Poynton's just the fastest lap of the race, so he's flying out there at the moment. 1:08.0, that is a very quick time, getting towards the pointy end of
we haven't seen a 7 here tonight in race conditions. Not
in race conditions, but I think we could get there before the end of this. And keep an eye on Luke Ullman as well. He is making inroads with those fresh tyres as well, so there is a lot of pressure on Wayne Walker now from Luke Ullman and Mark Poynton, who are going very quickly.
So of these 4, Josh Harris at the front of this pack, not yet through the pits, so he's going to have to come in. Look, he'd be thinking about it sometime soon. He's about halfway through this race, so it's a good time to start thinking about splitting it up. However, the longer that he can hold on here, the less fuel he's going to have to take. So he's going to have to balance that obviously against the amount of time it'll take to get the fresh set of boots on. But it's not going to hurt him to perhaps play a little bit of defence and maybe even think about holding up the likes of Walker, Ullman and Poynton, just to give his teammate up the road a bit of a fighting chance. Ryan Palmer's now 4.5 seconds up the road, so you would almost expect that Josh Harris has changed his mission a bit here. Instead of trying to stick with Palmer and stay up front, what he wants to do is create as much space as possible to give Palmer a chance to just extend a little bit if he can. I mean, Palmer's in no position to be battling it out for a win here with these 3 so close behind. But look, a safety car could change everything.
Absolutely, it could. There could be. Look, we talk about the likelihood of a safety car. I don't know if it's super high chance of a safety car happening here in this race now, but you never know. Anything could happen, and this is This is going to be frustrating Wayne Walker for sure. He's got Josh Harris behind. He's entitled to fight for position. We saw this earlier. It's absolutely his right to fight for this last spot on the podium, but Wayne Walker will really just want him to get out of the way because he's got two guys right behind him that are on much fresher tyres, could take the opportunity to try and get past him here. And Josh Harris, he's not gonna just lay down and let him walk past. This is going to be a super frustrating experience for Wayne Walker if he can't clear this 80 HD car quickly.
Absolutely, as we see a drive-through penalty for Caofillo for that incident with Jim Caperonis earlier on, and not super surprising, honestly. Wayne Walker all over the back. This is the sort of train of cars that supercars are absolutely famous for, and what make them such a good series of racing to watch is you get these really, really tightly packed battles. Walker, a 10th off the back of Josh Harris. He's going to have some pace here. I'm actually really surprised that Harris hasn't moved to the inside to defend here, because he's going to be side by side, and so he'll jump on the brakes just a little earlier, just drop in behind Wayne Walker to maintain the ideal line. He's not going to be too worried at this point about where he sits in this group. He knows he's got a pit stop coming. Every 10th that he can delay any of these cars is bonus time for Ryan Palmer up the road.
Yeah, this is really just a free kick for Ryan Palmer. He's now got 5.6 seconds. So Wayne Walker will start to eat into that, but Ryan Palmer, he's putting in 109. So still really solid lap times at the moment from the 80 HD driver, but this is hopefully going to vault him up the order once he does come in for his stop.
Have a look at the back of this pack. David Coleman arrives on the scene to get amongst it. So all of a sudden, we're up to 5 cars in this train. And threatening in the background still, Mark Point. He's come off the pace a little bit, but he's still right in amongst it. And, sorry, not Mark Point. Mitchell Steele Allison. I'm looking one ahead, not one behind. Don't mind me, folks. Steele Allison has been lapping just a little bit quicker than this group because he's not involved in the battle. He's got the nice clean air. G'day, Rob. Good to have you along in the chat, mate. Yeah, look, honestly, forget needing Gold Coast chicanes. We need the Gold Coast track in iRacing. That's the dream. I know they've scanned Adelaide, so that's on the way. Nothing's ever been said about the Gold Coast being scanned. I'm almost tempted, though, as a breathy boy myself, to get in touch with iRacing and offer to be the one that walks around and does the scanning for them. If they send the equipment, I'll get it scanned. Don't you worry. It'd be well worth it. You would have seen, of course, if you're a follower of the Real World Supercars, the Gold Coast round was on the weekend just gone, and if you haven't seen it, absolutely get out there and have a look at some of the brilliant photos of the amount of clearance between the tyres and the asphalt that these supercars can get around the Gold Coast track. They are launching off the chicanes.
They're absolutely launching. I was there on the weekend. Flew all the way up to the Gold Coast just to watch those cars try and attempt to achieve space flight off the weekend, because some of them they are not far off. And you watch those cars, the front end lifts, they point in an upwards direction. I don't know how they do it, but one thing I think we absolutely need is the Gold Coast track in iRacing, so we can send some virtual supercars across those chicanes. Because I tell you now, I've driven that track before on R Factor, and it is quite a lot of fun. And I think the way that iRacing do their circuits with the way they scan them, it would be absolutely brilliant. Stephen Varga thinks about a move up the inside of Andrew Rushworth. And yeah, can't wait for the day when we get Adelaide, but also Gold Coast. Get on it. If anyone from iRacing is listening and watching this broadcast, which I don't know why they wouldn't be, what else are you doing on your Tuesday night? You need to get Gold Coast organised and put into iRacing, because it is a brilliant circuit, and these cars around there are just an absolute pleasure to watch.
You know, the really disappointing thing out of all of it, and look, it's a minor disappointment in the scheme of things, but I'll still whinge about it, as is my right as a commentator. The chicane at Daytona, the road course. Yep. Daytona? Yeah, chicane at Daytona. They've just reworked Daytona this season, and in doing so have changed the makeup of the curbs through the bus stop on that road course. And the old setup was basically the closest you'll ever get to the Gold Coast chicanes on iRacing at the moment. And with the change, it's not there anymore. The curbs are they're too aggressive. You can't bounce over them like you used to be able to, and it's a bit of a shame. It's a bit of a shame. Jamie Dyke comes into the pits, he is heading back out, and the interesting thing will be where he comes out in relation to Wayne Walker. Here's Walker. Jamie Dyke is a good 3 or 4 spots back, but he will be on fresh rubber. So Walker now out in the lead of this race with a good 1.9 seconds over Luke Allman, who's done a brilliant job to maintain his position at the front end of this pack right throughout this race. Mark Poynton and David Coleman will keep him under pressure for the next 10 or so laps all the way to the end, I'm sure. But a brilliant drive from Team AJR so far, with plenty more still to come. Some battles going on throughout the rest of the field as well that we'll keep an eye on. Matt Vanderkruijs and Jason Benz still going at it back here in 7th, and starting to almost close the gap a little to the guys up ahead. And look, I would love to see this come together with a 5-6 way battle for the second and third step on the podium. I don't know if anyone's going to catch Walker here. He's starting to extend now out to 2 seconds, and we know he's super quick, so maybe that's off the cards. But geez, it'd be nice to see these guys come across the line 3 or 4 wide at the end of the race. G'day Craig, thanks for dropping by, mate, and appreciate the kind words. We're doing what we can to bring you all of the action, and there is absolutely plenty of it here at Sandown, as you'd expect. Mitchell Steele-Allison now under pressure from Jamie Dyke. Dyke is out on very fresh tyres, so this should be set to be his quickest lap as we see him make the move up the inside of turn 1. Steele-Allison's going to fight it all the way, but unfortunately just doesn't have the same level of grip and positioning that Jamie Dyke does. So Dyke goes through into 5th. Now watch for him to try and just eat into that gap ahead to his teammate in David Coleman and rejoin that front pack. It's going to be a very close finish here, I suspect, with only about 10 laps to go. Jamie Dyke's, look, he's got some work ahead of him if he wants to get on the podium, but it's not going to be impossible. Wayne Walker not quite managing to extend as much as he'd probably like, but he is picking up, you know, a 10th or so a lap, and if he can just maintain the gap to Luke Allman, he'll be very happy. Luke Allman, for his part, doing brilliantly under pressure from Poynton and Coleman, so he just needs to hang in there and just try and conserve his tyres a little bit to be able to hold them off towards the end of this race. But Jamie Dyke starting to wave goodbye to Mitchell Steele-Allison in the rearview mirror. Behind them, Jason Benz sticking right with Vanderkruijs. He's going to have a look up the inside here at turn 1. Just pokes the nose in ever so slightly, trying to throw Vanderkruijs off, but in the end just takes the advantage to close right up. Can't quite get there and just decides to stay in behind and open this corner up. He doesn't want to lose any distance to Vanderkruijs' Mustang in front, because he'll be looking for a move into the S's here. They both want to get the foot down as early as they can onto this back straight. Vanderkruijs looks to have gotten a small jump, but Benz is close enough that he should start to reel it in as he accelerates just a little bit faster with a little tiny bit less air resistance to work with. Still 2/10 the difference, so he's not going to be close enough this time on the way down towards Dandenong Road. You can see how much these cars are sliding around down through the S's. Jason Benz throwing everything he can at Vanderkruijs. Vanderkruijs so composed on a track that he knows and loves, and closes the door there on Benz, having a bit of a look up the inside on the way towards Dunlop. They both go over that inside curb and come back onto the main straight, reset and try again.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's got to reset, try again. These guys, they've been at it for quite some time, and Matt Vanderkruijs is actually doing really well in the championship, so this will be a good haul points. We see Josh Harris up the inside of Rick Weigard. Doesn't quite get the move done there on exit. Had to carry a little bit too much speed, I think, and now he's going to fall in behind him. To see 5 second penalty for car 16 for adhering to blue flags on lap 14 and 15. So that is Dean Logsdale, which is even more. It's even more salt in the wound, isn't it? And what we haven't mentioned with Dean Logsdale as well, this is going to affect the championship massively. He will lose this championship lead after today, as things look at the moment, because the points between himself and Wayne Walker were very close coming into this. And I think Wayne Walker, after a strong performance in the first race and an even stronger performance in the second race, with a difficult race for Dean Logsdale in race 2, I think there will be a change in the championship lead, which I think it's very exciting, obviously, but I don't think Dean Logsdale will be someone that's very excited about that.
I do wonder just how little you've got in terms of visibility here. Our camera probably better positioned than Jamie Dyke is in that car, but as he closes in behind Mark Poynton, you can see how much faith he's putting in knowing this track and his brake markers, because you can't see much of anything past the car in front. Once you get to within about that 2 or 3 tenths mark, really you're absolutely driving on memory and just trying to keep the pace up and not allow that gap to open back up. And Jamie Dyke not even actually all that close at the moment, and still you can see just how much of his view of these brake markers is blocked. And it's really important here as you come towards these S's to get it right. We've seen so many of these drivers overshoot and end up out into the runoff on the right, as you see Dyke just really stretching, and of course the slowdown there, he's pushed it just a little bit too hard. I was going to say he's definitely being a bit liberal with the track limits there, but the iRacing steward's absolutely onto it, and he'll have a slowdown, so he's going to drop off the back of that group just a little. The question is, does he move out of the way for his teammate David Coleman? He's cleared the slowdown now, so maybe an opportunity for the two of them to just work together here and try and close that gap back up. Luke Allman remains under pressure from Mark Point, and he's handling it beautifully. Point goes to the outside, looking to try and open this corner up in any way that he possibly can. Allman just staying absolutely rock solid, holds the inside of the track for just an extra couple of meters to make sure that Point doesn't have the run out of the corner, and then moves across, opens it up through Pertec corner, solid as you like, completely planted, and it starts to pull away on the exit. Mark Point will reel him in, but a 4/10 gap at the start of this straight is nowhere near close enough to think about a move at the S's here. G'day, Puzzle. Welcome on in. Any lights from driver's point of view, mate? We can jump on board with anyone you like, whenever you like. If there's someone you'd like to take a look at, we are absolutely able to jump on in there. We were just riding on board the gyro cam with Jamie Dyke a moment ago, just to give you a bit of a view of just how little you can see. And indeed, if we jump to the cockpit view proper, and the field of view police, I'm sure will be after me for this, you can see how much he's having to work that wheel to get the power down out of those last couple of corners. Absolutely throwing everything at those rear tyres, all the way up 260 plus k an hour, then on the brakes into turn one, trying to stay composed, a little bit of a touch of that inside curve, but not too much, or you end up getting spat out of there pretty quickly. So we'll jump back over to our regular gyro cam here, down all the way to just under 80 k an hour through Pertec corner. That is incredibly slow in a Gen 3 supercar, and it also requires a huge amount of throttle discipline on the way out, because it's so easy to overcook it from such a low speed. But you can absolutely see the work that's going in for Jamie Dyke as he cranks it down through the S's. Little adjustments all the way down through there. It's very rarely a smooth steering angle, as he just feels for the grip limits on those tyres, and then reaches just a little bit beyond and pulls them back in again. Plenty of work going on behind the wheel there for Jamie Dyke.
He's putting in the hard yards behind the wheel at the moment to try and find his way up into the podium places. And I will say, if they do want any live drivers feeds, I know Luke Allman, we saw earlier, provides us with these cameras, the shot of his, it looks like the
Jamie
inside now.
So here goes Jamie Dyke. There you go.
There we go. Up onto the podium, but Poin's going to come back at him here, so he does get the switch back. The better drive off of turn one. They're going to go side by side into two. There's a little bit of rubbing. There is a bit of panel rubbing nose to tail, but they got away with it.
I'm stunned that they didn't end up into the wall just then. That was so close from both Jamie Dyke and Mark Point. I don't think either of them really wanted to back out of that. But the absolute winner from all of that is, of course, Luke Allman, who has got himself a whole bunch of breathing room all of a sudden. As we jump forward, we can take a look from his perspective, and this will give you a bit of a view of how hard he's working in the cockpit there. Obviously got everything set up around him. We make our way through Dunlop corner once again. We're getting very close now, just 5 laps left to go here, and Luke Allman is on track for potentially a very, very strong result. Wayne Walker just catapults himself away into distance, 3.2 seconds the gap now. Luke Allman, though, very, very strong here in second. He's held a solid line right throughout since starting on the front row, and it's starting to come back to him now. He's got just a few laps up the sleeve, so he'll have to keep that concentration locked in there. Doesn't want to throw this away at such a late stage, and I certainly don't want to be responsible for the commentator curse that brings him undone. So we're going to jump out and watching him and have a look at that gap back to Mark Point now. 1.3 seconds. Some really, really helpful breathing room as we see Jamie Dyke and Jamie Dyke and Mark Poynton going side by side through the S's again. These guys absolutely pushing. Mark Poynton ends up behind Jamie Dyke. Now David Coleman has a look around the outside, but here comes Mitchell Steele-Allison. Out of nowhere, he's come back into this battle, and now he's right on the back of David Coleman. So we're going to have a four-way battle for the final step on the podium as we get towards the dying stages of this 37-lap race 2 here for round 5 of the SolarGuard Supercar Championship put on by Alliance Sim Racing. As always, brilliant racing here tonight, Isaac. It's such a joy to watch, and I don't know why he'd be anywhere else.
That's exactly right. I don't know why you'd be wanting to watch anything else tonight, because this action has been non-stop. It's been epic, and the racing that these guys are putting on at the moment, I believe that's David Coleman, or David Logsdale, sorry, he's getting out of the way of these guys. David Coleman, yeah. In fact, just in the battle, and making sure that he just does not hold anybody up, because Matt Vanderkraan's locked in a battle with James Bentz. Luke Ullman, well, not really Luke Ullman, he sort of walked away from it, but Jamie Dyke, Mark Poynton, David Coleman, and Mitchell Steele-Allison locked in a battle with each other for this last spot on the podium. It looks like, though, it's going to go the way of Jamie Dyke at this stage. He's starting to walk away a little bit, so he's found a little bit of breathing room. He's now trying to close back up to the back of Luke Ullman.
He's closing pretty quickly as well. Ullman's going to have a real handful here in just a moment, because Jamie Dyke, having been released from behind Mark Poynton, is starting to chew into Luke Ullman's position. That's coming down pretty quickly. We're down to just on 7/10. That time around, Luke Ullman actually, a full second slower. So there's been a bit of a moment from Luke Ullman somewhere in amongst all of that, and it's allowed Jamie Dyke to really close in, and he's gonna smell an opportunity here. The green Fishy Motorsports car will be all over the back of Luke Ullman by the time we get back around to that start-finish line. I guarantee you. It's down to 3/10 now, and Jamie Dyke is starting to hit his stride. He's absolutely pushing on and looking for an opportunity to get one step further up the podium. Jason Bentz has pushed it just a little too hard. He's come unstuck. And it's Pertec corner again, just a little bit too far over that curb, catches a bit of grass on the rear end, and thankfully doesn't get collected. But man, I tell you what, the flick spin on the way out of there just hasn't been working for anyone tonight. No,
and I'll repeat the advice I gave to Ryan Palmer a little bit earlier. The grass, not a good surface for trying to stop a race car. Do not recommend.
Sorry, Jamie Dyke on the way out of that final corner. He was sideways for a good 50 metres there. He's pushing so hard. White flag now.
It's the fastest way around the track, sideways. You know, if you're not sideways, you're not going fast enough. That's the theory I operate on, especially in these cars.
Absolutely. This is it, an all-out battle now for the last lap. Wayne Walker's got P1 sewn up. Jamie Dyke has about 3 more opportunities where he might be able to get past Ullman. Now Ullman goes defensive for pretty much the first time that we've seen so far this race. He's going to sit right in the middle of the track and make Jamie Dyke choose his line. Ullman sitting in there. Dyke's going to have a big look up the inside. He's not close enough, though, to make a run for it. The only question will be KO Philo up ahead. Does that become a bit of a concern here? You'd have to think Philo's got an eye on the mirror and thinks about moving out of the way. A big wiggle there from Jamie Dyke. He's got one more shot of this. Mark Poynton's now starting to get back into it. Can Luke Ullman hold on? 2 more turns plus a tiny kink will decide the podium spots here, and I don't think Jamie Dyke's going to have it. Ullman gets the power down cleanly. Jamie Dyke will throw everything he can at it, but that'll wrap it up, and Luke Ullman brings it home in P2. 3/10 the difference to Jamie Dyke. Another 4/10 back to Mark Poynton, and David Coleman in behind them as well. Mitchell Steele-Allison comes home in 6th. What a finish for these guys. That battle was going on for at least half of that race, and in the end, Luke Ullman holds it almost all the way home. Wayne Walker too strong in the end, as we see Ryan Palmer come across in 13th, up 15 from where he started after blowing the motor up. One of the few remaining close battles on track right now, as we see a penalty issued to 048. That's Mitch Wood for the earlier incident. An opportunity here maybe for Craig Schulz to reel in Mick Clifton. Not quite close enough, though, to get it done. Clifton's carrying some damage, but I don't think it will be enough to hold it all together. It's a tight finish, but Clifton is going to hold on. Craig Schulz will have to be content with 21st position as we come across the line. and the rest of the drivers now starting to just wrap up their laps as we go to the results. And what a finish to race number 2. It's been a massive night of racing. Sandown always puts it on for us, so no surprise to see some great racing here again tonight, Isaac. But what a result for Luke Orman across the 2 races. You know, got a start on the front row there for race number 2, and he's held it almost all the way. Wayne Walker got him in the end, but a brilliant battle to hold off Jamie Dyke there to finish.
If I was Luke Orman, I would absolutely be thrilled with that. He drove brilliantly, led the race for all of that first stint, and then Wayne Walker with a brilliant undercut meant that he jumped Luke Orman. He just didn't have enough to come back at him in the later stages of that race, but a good result nonetheless. Started second, will finish second, and score 43 points to boot. Jamie Dyke, again, a win and a 3rd place tonight. That's a strong showing from him, and a good amount of points there as well. Matt Vanderkraan as well finishes 7th in the end to get some really good points for his team as well. Jason Benz comes back to 10th after that spin. So damage limitation, I think, after a difficult first race, and finished in the top 10 in the second race. So you have to take that.
You know, I think that the call out for me tonight, though, look, as much as I'd love to give it to Ryan Palmer for making it back to 13th from 28th after popping the motor in race 1, for me, Mitchell Steele-Allison, he's had such a strong set of results tonight, and it's not something we've seen a lot from him along the way this season, but he's right up there, finishing 6th in race number 2. A really, really good result. Let's have a chat to a few of these drivers and get their thoughts on race number 2, and we'll start off with 3rd place on the podium. He got so close to coming home in 2nd, but in the end, not quite enough left in the tank. Jamie Dyke, welcome to the booth, my friend.
How are we, boys?
Mate, I tell you what, I reckon we're probably sweating a fair bit less than you. That was a hell of a way to finish off a second 37-lapper.
Yeah, it was a bit hard. Yeah, definitely sweating a bunch, but it was all in good fun. I knew the strategy I was putting myself on.
Well, it's all paid off pretty nicely in the end, and we did think that you were probably racing to a pretty specific set of numbers there, as you tend to do. We watched you through a big portion of the early part of that race, just holding that position. But look, I guess in terms of results for the evening, you got to be pretty happy with the points across the 2 races, yeah?
Yeah, it's all right.
He's never happy unless he's won, honestly.
Well, I would have preferred to clear. Like, I got 2 slowdowns in that second race, which I'm really annoyed at myself about. If I hadn't have got them, I reckon I could have cleared Luke a couple laps beforehand and charged at Wayne. Probably wouldn't have gotten Wayne, but yeah, I'm just a bit dirty about myself for the slowdowns, really. Other than that, 2 races were awesome.
And as always, setting yourself a very, very high standard, and I'd expect no less of you. Honestly, Jamie, great couple of races. Anyone you want to say hello to, or give the sponsors a bit of a shout out before we let you go and grab a drink of water, hey?
I'm AFK at the moment, getting some fresh air. But
there you go. Fresh air. It's never fresh air.
Yeah, no, I'm literally outside right now. But I'll give Mike and Coleman a massive shout out. They, did some laps earlier. I'll also give a shout out to Palmer. He's trying to steal my strategies, and well, tonight's one was pretty obvious. I didn't need to tell him squat.
Yeah, well, he had it going on right up until the moment where he decided to pop the motor. So he's learning a bit from Josh Harris as well, it seems. But mate, a solid night of racing as always. Congrats on the results, and no doubt we'll be chatting to you again at some point this season, hey?
Yeah, no worries. And congrats to Wayne for the win. He drove awesome.
Yeah, no surprise there. Thanks, Jamie. Appreciate your time.
Take it easy, boys.
Jamie Dyke there takes P3 in race number 2, and we go now to a bloke who I suspect is probably a little bit more than excited right now with that result. Luke Orman, welcome to the booth, mate.
Welcome, guys. How you going?
Look, I reckon I reckon we've just said to Jamie Dyke that he was probably sweating a bit. Mate, you must have been on absolute edge the whole way through that tonight.
Oh, I was. I knew he had fresh tyres and I knew he had the pace. And I was just trying not to make a mistake, and I was just trying to block, just make sure that he couldn't get past in the lap traffic. And I was just like, please, I just wanted to finish there, and I'm happy with the result.
Well, mate, you well should be, and you did a brilliant job holding off a very fast finishing Jamie Dyke, Mark Boynton, David Coleman starting to get into it at the end there. What was the long game strategy across that second race tonight? You looked pretty well planted just about any time we checked in on you throughout that race, but you must have been saving something in reserve there, because you weren't sliding around anywhere near as much as the guys trying to catch you at the latter part of that race.
Oh, at the start of the race, when I pulled away, I kept my 3-second gap, and I think it was about lap 13. I made a slight mistake, so Mark started to catch up, and I thought, nah, I'll pit in now because I've made my mistake, and come out, and I come out behind Wayne, and I was just trying to stick with him, and then we had a car that hadn't pitted yet, and I just could not get past, and once Wayne got past, I was just like, oh, please, I just wanted to try to stick to him because I knew the other guys were quick, so I was just trying to stick there, and I eventually did, and it was a great race.
Mate, some solid points for you tonight, an awesome result for Team AJR, getting a bit of love in the chat as well from a few people just congratulating on the drive right throughout, mate. Anyone you want to say hello to or give a shout out to any of the sponsors before we let you go?
Oh, just an awesome team over at Team AJR, great group of fellas, and all the broadcasters. You do an awesome job. Love watching the stream after every race, and everyone that puts it on.
Mate, it'll be a pretty good one to watch back tonight, I reckon. Plenty of highlight reel for you. Great drive tonight, mate, especially race 2. Congrats again.
All right, thanks, guys.
Luke Allman there, wrapping up P2, which of course brings us to our race 2 winner. He's back with us once again. Wayne Walker, welcome back to the booth, mate.
Thank you.
So a pretty quick gain in the end. I think the 5-second gap at the end really doesn't speak to how hard you had to work for that one tonight, does it?
No, that second race, I knew, like, Dyke pitted so late. I knew he would have had the pace on me near the end. So if he had dropped in between me and that back behind, he probably would have caught and passed me. But him getting held up in that group is probably what won me the race, I think.
Well, that's it. It's all pit strategy that comes into play, particularly at a place like Sandown, where you've got very little opportunity for lapped cars to be spread out. It's a pretty tight course, isn't it?
Yeah. It's nearly impossible to pass on this track, unless you've got like a massive offset in tyres or things like that. So that's why I sort of pitted so early in the second race, to try and jump the cars in front and get that track position, and then just try and hold them off till the end.
Mate, it's absolutely played out the way that you'd hoped, I'm sure. It probably didn't look like it was going to be such a runaway victory for us in the booth. That's for sure. We didn't expect it to end up at 5 seconds, but once you got out in front, as tends to be the case with you, Wayne, almost unstoppable and very, very hard for anyone to stick with you. An awesome result tonight. Anyone that you want to say thanks to, I'm sure the usual sponsors. I can almost rattle them off for you by this point. We've heard it so many times this season, but I'll let you do the honours, mate.
Yeah, just big thanks to everyone who helps run the league, race control, you guys as well for the broadcast. You do an amazing job every week as well. My team, Accelerate Sim Racing, and my teammates, all their help as well. All the other competitors as well, because without them it's not possible. Our sponsors, Abbey Timber, Primal Wheels, Box and Lock Narang, and Modern Deck. That's about it.
One of these days I'm just going to jump in and rattle them off for you, mate. I reckon I'm working on it. I should be writing them down, I think. But look, great to have you back in the booth, and congratulations on another win to add to the tally. It's certainly going to have a pretty positive impact, I suspect, on the championship standings for you. We're going to go and take a look at that right now. Thanks so much, as always, for making the time to have a chat to us, Wayne.
No, that's all right. Thank you.
Wayne Walker there takes the win in race number 2. A pretty strong finish, really, Isaac. And as we were saying, not quite the gap I was anticipating at the end, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, it was definitely. I thought he might have walked away with it a little bit more. It would have been a big gap, but that's racing. And Luke Olmany tried for a while there to keep on, and now we look. And we did touch on this earlier, but there has been a change at the top of the leaderboard. Jared, there is a new championship leader among us.
Yeah, Wayne Walker goes back to where he started this season. He's wearing that number 1 on the side and sitting in number 1 at the midpoint of season 6 here. Dean Logsdale drops down a bit. Look, there will be, of course, a little bit of movement in this as the drop rounds get calculated. So, of course, we'll check in on it again at the start of next week. But definitely a bit of juggling around, and the front 4 or 5, really not a lot to separate them.
No, it's actually really close to the top, and that's making me super excited. I'm keen to see how this looks after drop rounds calculated, and what the points look like after that. But it is actually heating up quite a lot at the top, and there's not a lot of room for drivers to make mistakes at this stage of the season, because we're now at the halfway point. We're getting towards the pointy end, and every single point will matter between now and the end of the season for this championship.
You and I were talking just before the event kicked off here tonight. Something that's worth noting if people aren't kind of au fait with the calendar for this season. I really like the way the calendar's been laid out. The midpoint being Sandown, and then our final round being Bathurst. It's just so fitting for Gen 3 supercars, isn't it?
Absolutely, and I think it's a really good way to cap off what has been a really strong start to the season. In the first half of the season, you finish that off at a Australian circuit, at a track that these cars know really well, and then you go to a few tracks they might not know really well, but are going to be super challenging, like the Red Bull Ring, Mexico, at I can never say the name probably, but Thruxton as well. That's going to be a super challenging circuit, and then you finish it at Bathurst, where I have no doubt we will go into Bathurst with at least 2 or 3 drivers in contention for this championship, and anything can happen at that track, because one small mistake and your whole race is over. So this is going to be a really exciting second half of the season. There's some challenging circuits in here, and we're really going to see the cream rise to the top in a sense.
We absolutely will. That will be a wrap, though, for round 5 tonight here at Sandown Raceway. It has been a night full of speed, strategy, and some pretty exciting and hairy little moments. Sandown, of course, never fails to deliver a bit of drama whenever we race here, and tonight is, of course, no exception. As always, a massive thank you to the Season 6 partner, SolarGuard St. Gobain, for their support, as well as all of the other sponsors that make this all possible every week. Quantum Tint Solutions, AA West Automotive, Team Nicol Photography, and of course 24/7 Sim Services, providing the ever so valuable race control, keeping it all flowing along neatly here each and every week. Next week we head to round 6 at Thruxton. I've got to go and put in some practice laps there. It's not a track I've ever driven, so I want to be able to tell you a little bit about it. So look for me getting out there over this weekend. If you're so inclined, make sure you do a bit of practice as well yourselves at home. That said, if you do want to make sure that you get your racing fix between now and next Tuesday night, jump on over to the Simple Racing broadcast channel. Thursday night we of course have the Tasman Racing League mid-season classic, something a little bit different just for fun in the middle of that season. A 55-lap race, GT3 cars of the Monza Oval. Should make for some very, very interesting racing indeed. And then, of course, Monday nights, we're back into MC Motorsports GT3 Championship as well. And then, of course, Tuesday night, we will be in Thruxton for the Alliance Sim Racing Supercars Championship to continue. Plenty of racing action going on all over the place. Make sure you don't miss any. Hit that subscribe button right here with ASR. Get on over to the Simple channel as well and do the same. And from all of us here, for now at least, a massive thank you, of course, to Isaac Fogarty from TrackSpot TV for jumping in the booth once again this week. But it is a very warm goodbye for now.